Well, this is your favorite Raging Cajun, suddenly a part of tomorrow's Legends. I don't know how that happened, but I'm with Havoc and Shadowcat. And all I got to say to you is, there's always more gators in the bayou. This is Gambit. Remember that.
"30 years ago, one of the greatest animated series of all time went off the air. But now it's returning to our screens, and the mutants will rise again. X-Men 97 continues the story of Wolverine, Rogue, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and more as they try to move forward from the loss of their leader, Professor Charles Xavier. Join Havoc and Shadowcat on this new adventure as they bring you the stories of X-Men 97. This is tomorrow's Legends.
Yeah, welcome, fellow mutants, to X-Men 97. It's all lies and deception around here. Last week we told you that it will only be one episode this week, and, well, that's a flat-out lie. I know. You're all going, but my feedback was only for one episode. But I'm kidding. Seriously, I kid. We're just going to be throwing in the second issue of the comic book series that's tying into this whole second season tonight. So there you go. No true deception, but we're gonna be adding in some extra content for you tonight. I am Havoc.
And I'm back, baby. I'm Shadowcat.
Oh, look at the claws.
Yeah.
Only two of them.
Yeah, I got my X23 ones.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Cool. They look cool. Are they 3D printed or is that?
Yes. Yeah. 3D printed and then spray painted.
Cool. I made some of those too. That's pretty cool. It's always show and tell here on the video part of the show.
Yes.
Which, of course, all the audio listeners are like, damn it, I can't see it. So we are just one of the fellow shows on the network. You guys know the deal, but I would love for you to check out tomorrow's Legends. They're currently talking about the Justice League Unlimited cartoon series over there, so go check that out. And then dive into DC with Silverfox and Green Butterfly. They are talking about the third season of My Adventures with Superman. And then The Mandalore, Star Wars, all the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus, getting ramped up for Mandalorian Grogu. That film's hitting Disney Plus pretty quickly, so we're waiting for that to happen. And hopefully a lot more people will see it by then and send us tons of feedback. And then Firefly Still Flying, the new animated Firefly Revival podcast. We were talking about that and getting all ready for that show to whenever it comes out. I know they're working on it, but we don't have a release date yet. So check all of those shows out on the network. We got a little bit of news. Let's get to some news for tonight.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
So some of this news is rumors and speculation, but I want to talk about it because it's X-Men related. The new X-Men movie there's a lot of talk starting to happen about it, and it sounds like it's going to begin filming in 2027. We don't know when, early, mid, or late, but they did say it's going to begin filming in 2027, and as far as the leaks can tell, it's going to have Cyclops, Jean, Rogue, Storm, Emma Frost, Professor X, and Magneto in it. So, kind of cool.
Yeah, interesting. I don't always keep up with a lot of the news on the movie side. I've kind of fallen off the MCU a little bit, especially the past couple of movies, and I'm, hesitantly, tentatively looking forward to the X-Men, live action movies. The past ones are Fox, granted, and not under directly Marvel, but I've been, the X-Men movies are a roller coaster of enjoyment and getting mad at them and things. I do like some of them, and some of them are just like, what happened here, in my opinion.
Well, especially the last one, the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix story. My gosh, what did they do there? Like, for that to be the last one, I
don't like that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The thing is it was our X-Men coming to life for the first time, and it was fun. It was great to see them. Like, I know they're not all great, but we still get to watch Hugh Jackman be Wolverine. We still get to watch these characters be alive on our screens, and I try to just enjoy it for that, even though the stories weren't the greatest. I mean, come on, I'm wearing Rogue tonight. You can see on the like I was so disappointed with Anna Paquin as Rogue. Like that that she's not Rogue, and that wasn't a good. Like I wanted to see the whole Rogue story, not the very beginning of her. Anyway, it's yeah.
Yeah, but you can't help but acknowledge, like, I mean, 2000 was when the first one came out, so they were some of the early superhero films that were kind of mainstream and really gave rise to the MCU. I mean, they predated the MCU movies for the most part.
They did.
And
they did.
They helped bring rise to kind of superheroes being like, oh, you can bring them into live action and translate that, and kind of they pioneered that. So I do, that's a really big step for that. If you got
to give them that credit too, for sure. Yeah, you're right. It's long before the MCU ever really took off in the whole Infinity saga and stuff. So, and because Marvel didn't have the rights to it, these companies could do whatever the heck they want. That's why we got X-Men in black leather instead of their actual iconic uniforms and all this stuff. So, but now that Marvel has rebought the rights and they have everything, I'm really excited because Marvel will do it properly the way they wanted to. I mean, you look at what they're putting into this cartoon. You know they're going to look at that. Like, I'm putting a lot of trust and faith in them. I feel like they're going to look at that and go, this is a huge success. We cannot falter with the live action. We have to bring this to life somehow. So I'm hoping. I'm really, really hoping and putting a lot of trust and faith that they'll do it justice for sure.
Yeah. I'm hopeful too. It depends on kind of where they're going to start with the storylines and, what era kind of they're going to pull from. I do think San Diego Comic-Con at the time of recording is next week, and there's rumors that they're going to announce some of the casting at San Diego Comic-Con. So
for who plays the X-Men?
Maybe for the X-Men. So we'll see if we do get any concrete news in a week or two from this.
Okay, well, that could be exciting that we would have that to talk about in the next couple episodes. But speaking of casting, I mean, the one thing that is absolutely confirmed is for Avengers Doomsday, Patrick Stewart is returning as Professor X, and Ian McKellen is returning as Magneto for at least that movie. So that's good news. And I'm just wondering, like, how big are the roles going to be? Because both of those fellas are almost 90 years old.
Yeah, it's hard to say how big of a section of the film or portion of the film that the whole X-Men stuff is going to be, because it's Fox actors returning, and I do think Doomsday and potentially into Secret Wars is going to be a last hurrah for all the Fox actors, because them too, James Marsden as Cyclops, he's confirmed to return.
Right.
Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler has been confirmed.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
There's a few others that I'm blanking on, even though I just saw this. But there's a few of them. So I know a few of the Fox actors are going to reprise their roles here.
Well, I think Hugh Jackman as Wolverine's coming back too, because he's stated he's going to play Wolverine until he's 90. Like, he doesn't want anybody else to play Wolverine. Nobody in the world really wants anybody else to play Wolverine. So he's kind of one of those guys that you casted him perfectly, and that's it. Once he's done, the role is done. They have to move on from Wolverine. It's kind of like
until he's 90.
Yeah. So we'll see what ends up happening with all of that. I mean, he just came back and was in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, and everybody loved it. So yeah, we'll have to see. But it's still exciting. The fact that Marvel has rights to the X-Men and they're going to be included in the next Avengers movie. It's exciting. I have such high hopes for Marvel to get back on top and kick this into high gear once again. And I was watching a guy break it all down on YouTube. He's like, since the Infinity Saga ended, we've had many Disney Plus TV shows like WandaVision and Hawkeye and Falcon and Winter Soldier and and Agatha All Along, like all of these side shows, plus all of the other movies that came out after it. This guy went to town on his research and managed to piece it all together and all the connections. And a lot of the stuff I didn't quite see or didn't quite connect. I was like, oh my God, yeah, that leads to that, and that connects to that, and that, and with Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange and everything. They linked it all together, and they linked everything to Spider-Man and how Spider-Man right now, Peter Parker, the whole world has forgotten him, but he hasn't forgotten everything. He's the only one that knows everything that happened around him, so he's supposed to be the center of Like if you picture a wheel with all the spokes coming out at the center, he's the pinpoint in the middle. Everything's going to come back to him and connect to him somehow, and he's going to be like the main focal point of everything Marvel going forward. And I was like, oh my God, yes! Like that is Spider-Man. Like he is Marvel's greatest hero, the most popular hero they have. Like it's if they can center everything around him while they have Tom Holland locked up for 3 more movies plus the Avengers movies, my gosh, like I feel like Marvel is going to take off again. And he was saying that even though all the last few TV shows and all the last couple of movies maybe weren't as good as the Infinity Saga, he said it was all still building up the greater plan to get to Doomsday, to get to Secret Wars. It was still building this massive, massive event. And he's like, don't worry, it's all coming back. And I'm excited. I can't help it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that Spider-Man's kind of be this more central point that connects a lot of things moving forward.
Yeah.
I am looking forward. I'm just, I'm waiting to see what they start releasing and putting out there, because I've been a little down on some of the live action stuff. I won't lie there, but
yeah, I mean it has been great. It's still been fun. Like, I mean,
fun.
Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, I mean, to me, I was like, oh my God. Like, for me, it was still fun, but it was such a mess of a movie. Like, you could not keep up. Like, what is happening? There's so much going on. It was so convoluted. You had no idea. And then Doctor Strange and the whatever it was called, the
Multiverse of Madness.
It was that. It was madness. Like, you couldn't figure that one out at all. And like they've gone way too far in being it's so. But it was still fun. We're still getting our beloved characters and the same actors playing the parts. And we're getting
maybe
movies,
it's sometimes too much of me probably to ask for things to just be more than just fun at times, but that's just who I am as an academic.
But I mean,
they are allowed to just be fun. Yes.
They are allowed to just be fun. But I mean, the Infinity Saga was so serious and fun. Serious, but a lot of fun. And then I mentioned the Loki series, like that was off the charts amazing. It was hard to keep up with it at times, but that was amazing writing. And Loki is also supposed to have a major part in this whole thing. He's supposed to be one of the most powerful characters going forward now, and how he's involved in all of it. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I love Tom Hiddleston, so it's going to be fantastic to see what he gets to do. But anyway, there's a lot coming, so we're very excited. We'll be here for all of it. For sure. Let's get into rating this episode. This is Season 2, Episode 5, called Weapon X, Lies, and DVDs. Let's get into that.
Yay, X-Men fans, this is Sunspot, and it's time to give our ratings for the latest episode.
Actually, I was wrong. The latest episode is comic issue number 2. That's what we're going to kick the show off with tonight, not the weapons, lies, and videotapes and all that stuff. We're going to talk about the comic book first. So, my rating for issue 2 is a 7 interludes. It's a quick little story bridging a time gap in the episode 2. We didn't even know that was there. Sure, it's fun. Like, and what I mean is, like, I didn't realize when you watch the episode, you don't realize there's actually a very large time gap because they go from. Well, we'll talk about it. Sure, the comic book was fun. It adds some depth to the episode, but up here in Canada, the comic these X-Men 97 comic books are $6 each. And for it to be so light and so short kind of ticks me off. Because if all you're doing is releasing issues that expand upon the TV episodes, it's almost not worth it to pay that amount of price. Like, if this is just a tiny little piece to just expand the episode, give it to me for $2. Come on.
Yeah, I know here first number 1 issues are $5, and then they're usually $4 after that. But depends on also the issues. So I think it's a little cheaper down here, but in the States, for anyone who don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm also right with you at a 7. So I have 7 deleted scenes because that's what it feels like.
Deleted scenes, interludes. We're both on the same wavelength. Yeah.
echoing a lot of what you said. It's a quick story to fill in some gaps and show some things, tying into the show that feel like deleted scenes. So I do wish it had felt like it had filled in more gaps, or maybe pick some different points in the timeline to fill in. I almost would have liked to have seen more in the future from the first episode than necessarily in the present. But these are also doing a much better job of directly tying into and feeling like the show over the season 1 comics that happened. So that's cool.
True.
Nothing groundbreaking or like really feeling like you need to read these along with watching the show. So I don't feel like if you're watching the show, you necessarily need to pick up these comics at the moment. But yeah, a quick, fun read.
Yeah. That's we're going to do exactly like we did in issue 1. We're just going to go through it and sort of recap it for you and talk about the highs and lows and what really happened in the story for those of you that aren't picking up the comics and reading. So for you, if you can remember episode 2 and then integrate this into it, that'll help you. It'll help expand the episode for you and kind of get more into it, which is what we're going to talk about when we in our first point, actually. So let's get right into the discussion.
My daddy always said 2's company and 3's an eavesdropper.
So the timeline of this comic book, this issue actually takes place after the opening of episode 2, but before the new title sequence that we got for X Factor, because this whole issue is based on X Factor. So where the opening shows us Cable...
X-Force.
Or sorry, I typed in X Factor, damn it.
It's okay.
X-Force. Where the opening shows us Cable recruiting Jubilee and Sunspot, then after the title sequence for X-Force, they're on the mission to catch War, one of the Horsemen. Mm-hmm. This issue is the story of how they find the location of where War is at before they actually go get him. So like I said, if you remember if you watch the episode, he recruits them, the title sequence, and then they're on the mission to go to capture him. So place this comic book right between those two bits. That's where it takes place. Make sense? Understand?
Yep.
All right. So the first page we get in the comic book is it opens with Psylocke, and she's training Sunspot and Jubilee in not the war room. They're just training somewhere. But she's not pulling any punches. She's not even pulling in her kicks because she puts a wallop on Jubilee, and then as Sunspot's sitting there making a wisecrack, he then gets a foot across the face. And he's like, ow! Like, she's not even pulling kicks. So Sunspot's learning the hard way.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They're like, this is not the danger room. This is real.
Yeah, I call it war room, danger room. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So they're having this little training sequence, and then Cable walks in and interrupts them, and Archangel's with them, and they're like, here's your new X-Force outfits. See, I spelled it right here. I don't know why I said X Factor in the beginning. Here's your new X-Force outfits. And so they're like, oh, great. And they pull them out, and they're like, wait a second, this isn't what I designed. I thought I designed my own costume. And Cable's like, yeah, well, you got to match the team, so too bad for you. And Jubilee they both put them on, and hers is really cool. Like, she's still got the trademark yellow jacket, but her outfit is all black, like shiny black. And from head to toe, she looks very spy-like, like she's on an espionage mission or whatever. While poor Sunspot, although his suit, it suits him, it suits his power set that he has. It's really bright and colorful. It's all yellow and orange and very sun colors. Yeah. It's what he had in the comics in X-Force. So yeah, it's not exactly like covert necessarily, but it does match him as a character. Yeah. And for some reason this is just like a little thing that was like nitpicky for me, even though like the comic insinuates that they put on the new costumes just like moments after the last page after receiving the briefcases with them. Then when they're in their war room on the jet, I believe Jubilee's hair is now longer, when in just the panel before where she still had the short hair. Oh, I didn't notice that. I was like, is this supposed to be a time jump and they're just still talking about the outfits, or is that just like a little art thing that she's probably supposed to have it in the training sequence too, to show the time passing? But I was just like, oh, I guess the hair came with the new outfit. Yeah, extensions, I guess. Yeah. It made me go just like a little bit when I flipped the page, but it's kind of funny. It was just kind of a funny thing that I noticed. See, I'm probably one of the ones that they were just hoping nobody's going to notice this, right? And it went over my head, Yeah, but I did like that even though it was brief, they did show like a training sequence, because there's like a quick flash of another one in the intro in episode 2 as well. Oh, so yeah. I like seeing it. Yeah, for sure. And while we're on the topic of X-Force, I know for the audio listener, you're not going to see this, but I have I mentioned it when we were talking about episode 2. I found my copy of X-Force #1, and it's still sealed in a double plastic bag. It's never been opened, so I wonder if that is actually worth anything. Like, it's in your typical, white plastic sleeve with the cardboard backing, and then within that, it's in its own bag. It says, issue #1 free includes a free trading card. I have no idea what the trading card is. Like, it says first collector's issue available only with this edition, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I don't even know what's in there. But anyway, X-Force 11, you should appreciate that. I wonder if he has it. So, so that was kind of fun. All right, so continuing on with the comic book. The mission. Cable tells the team that they have to go stop War before he brings about the return of Apocalypse. But they don't know how to find him, so they need a tracker, and he shows them pictures of Caliban. And Jubilee doesn't like this idea, because as she knows, he just wants to be left alone. She's talking about Caliban. He just wants to be left alone. And she shares some history, and there's a couple panels of pictures of her when she was younger. And she says something along the lines of when Caliban got mixed up with Apocalypse against his will, she also was almost going to be used as one of the horsemen, or by one of the horsemen as a vessel to help bring Apocalypse back to life. So probably something similar to what he's looking at Nathan for right now. But her and Caliban ended up helping each other escape and survive that situation. Now, I don't remember any of that. Maybe you can share a little bit more about that?
This is all, that's all a reference to, there is a season 5 episode of the original animated series that's called The Fifth Horseman.
Ah, okay.
And so, you saw, the Caliban in his, really big buff form. So that, he got,
Yes, he was big.
I think he got, transformed, somehow, I think something Apocalypse or his followers doing that, but basically it accentuates, so he became a super tracker kind of, and he's in a hound uniform, and we see some of the hounds later, but these are the modern hounds, and he got kind of mixed up in that.
Gotcha.
I don't remember how the rest of the episode goes. That is all I remember. I haven't watched it in a long time, but
okay.
Yeah, called The Fifth Horseman in season 5 if anyone wants to go back and look at that. That is where that's from.
Well, we got to do that a little bit of homework and put together a list of episodes from the original series that would be good for all of us to watch. That would be, I think, good for the Facebook page, good for our listeners, and good for me too, because I don't. I mean, I probably should just watch the whole damn series, but still.
Yeah, all on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it is. So in response to all that, Cable says that he has to go after War. And he shares a flashback to a story when he was a kid. And we go back to the future, because when he was a kid, he was 3,000 years in the future, where he's with Jean and Scott, and he calls them Slim and Red.
Yep.
And Slim is spelled with a Y instead of an I, and Red has a double D, which I think is funny. He calls them Slim and Red, because if we remember when we were talking about it, he doesn't know they're his mom and dad.
Right.
So this is before that. So he calls them Slim and Red. And they're out in the desert somewhere, and he gets attacked by a guy named Ahab and his hounds, which you just mentioned. His hounds are these guys wearing sharp, spiked suits, and they got sharp claws. And Ahab is kind of the leader of the pack, and he throws this harpoon. And what's cool is the harpoon he throws, he actually describes it in the in one of the panels. He says it locks on to genetic signatures, and it keeps attacking until it hits its target. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So you throw it once, and that's it. It'll keep attacking until it hits
it'll just keep going.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And then one of them slashes young Nathan right through the side. Nathan, because Jean and Scott are yelling at him to hurry up and run, get out of there, you're going to be attacked. And he turns to run, but one of them slashes him right across his rib cage area, and a huge, massive gash. And then we flash back to the present time, and it's grown-up Cable, and he lifts his shirt and shows Jubilee this big scar that he's got from that attack.
Yeah, because he's talking about, Jubilee was talking about Caliban just wants to be left alone, and Cable's you can't be too careful with the hounds, and this is his memory of dealing with the hounds because Caliban was a present hound at that moment. So that's kind of the tie-in there.
Yeah, so very cool. And it turns out Ahab is working for Apocalypse and is out scouting for the vessel, the body that he can take over, which he ends up discovering is Nathan. So that it kind of, if you remember in the episode, that's when Apocalypse was like, or his, sorry, actually, you got it here in your notes. You might as well tell him.
yeah, because there's a couple panels right after this where we see Ozymandias, who is the concrete guy, report back to Apocalypse, who is still in his Lazarus chamber, his resurrection chamber that he needs to be in.
Right.
And he's telling them, we think we found a strong mutant, Nathan. Basically, this is where they came across him to begin with, and what the intel is. So that ties right back into episode 1.
Yeah. So there's I say I wish we knew when these comics were supposed to be, so we could read them and include them with the episode that they're tied in with. That would have been cool. So who knows what episode or issue 3 is going to be about?
Yeah, honestly, not sure.
Not sure, right? Now, what I laughed at is because Jean and Scott show up on the scene and they're helping save Nathan. They defeat the Hounds and Ahab and they send them running. And they're off and running, and Nathan's laying on the ground, and he's got this massive gash, and he's bleeding. And Jean's like, she says to Nathan, "We're not going to let anyone hurt you, Nathan." I'm like, Jean, did you see the massive gash in his side? You know, like that's left a lifelong scar that he shows 40 years from now. Like, do you realize you let him got hurt?
Yeah, starting now, we're not going to let anybody hurt you.
Starting now, okay. Meanwhile, we better rush you back to med center because you're bleeding out.
Yeah, so just a few things. A few things here. So, going back to the Red and Slim of it all, the Red and Slim, I think I mentioned this, but are the names that Jean and Scott go by in the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix miniseries that definitely inspired aspects of episode 1.
Okay.
So I'm kind of a bit sad that they didn't actually ever, in the actual episode, call them Red and Slim, and we had to wait till this comic.
That would have been fun.
I would have liked to see Nathan actually call them that in the show.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
That would have been funny.
and then it's interesting to see Ahab here, because as far as I know, he's never been tied to this far future Apocalypse timeline. He's from the Days of Future Past timeline, which in continuity is only supposed to be 30 years in the future from the present story when it happens.
Right.
But so this is also the timeline where Rachel Summers is from. That timeline. So Mother Ascani, that Rachel. I don't know if Mother Ascani is supposed to be the same Rachel as Days of Future Past Rachel, but it's been insinuated by some of the dialogue that she is.
Okay.
But so in that timeline, still the same thing, that Ahab does command a group of hounds. He's kind of like the leaders of that. So hounds are mutants that have been tortured and brainwashed into hunting other mutants.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty stuff. And Rachel was actually a hound in the Days of Future Past timeline, which is where those markings on her face come from, the scars on her face. Those are the branding of a hound.
Oh, okay, cool little connections.
Yeah, so I've never seen Ahab in this timeline, so I guess they probably just use that connection point for the hound stuff to do that here.
Okay, interesting, cool. Well, going back into present 1997, X-Force is scouring the sewers looking for the Morlocks and Caliban, because Caliban is one of the Morlocks. And this little old lady, Anna Lee, she appears quietly from behind the shadows in the corners, and she's, talking to Jubilee and I'm, hello, and being all friendly and whatever, but then she kind of sneaks backwards and it ends up being a trap. She's distracting them because the team gets surprised by another group of mutants that pops up from behind, and we got a whole bunch of people there. So there's Anna Lee, Amelia Vaught, Gargoyle, Barnacle, Projector, and Frenzy. And I know you got a whole lot to say about all of these characters, because these guys look pretty cool. They're kind of interesting looking characters.
Yeah, so I'll start with Anna Lee, since she's the first one here. So she, as you said, is a Morlock, one of the Morlocks. She has an empathetic hypnosis kind of power, so she can make others feel certain emotions, and also tie those emotions to kind of false memories, or implant emotional ties through hypnosis, giving people kind of false memories. So in the comics, it's kind of a tragic backstory. She had children, but they were all killed. So she, since then, in her grief and wanting to have children again, she's tried to kidnap a bunch of kids and implant memories into those children, making them believe that they are her children, so that she can still have a family. Or she can do other things like make you believe that you're covered in scorpions, which is something she does in to Wolverine in the original animated series. In one of the Morlock episodes, and then it's really funny.
Yeah.
So she can do kind of empathetic, emotional manipulation and tie that to memories and things.
But she because most of the Morlocks they're physically altered, and that's why they hide. But she looks just like a little old granny. Like there's nothing different about her.
Yeah. I think it's just might just be her power set, that she felt like she couldn't live maybe necessarily around other people with the emotional kind of manipulation aspects. I don't know actually how she kind of got to the Morlocks. She was just kind of always there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so Amelia Vaught, so she can turn herself into a vapor at will.
A vapor.
A vapor, yeah, mist kind of a thing. But she's also a nurse. So she's actually the nurse that helped nurse Xavier back to health after his legs got crushed in the comics.
Whoa, way back.
Yeah. So they know each other from pretty early.
Wow. Okay.
They also dated for a while. Xavier has many exes.
Yeah.
And then she's been a part of both Magneto's and Exodus's acolytes in the comics as well.
But what can she do with her mist? Just choke people? What can she do with it?
I don't know if she can do that, but it kind of counts as like a sort of teleportation. Like she can move through things, move in different areas with that kind of mist.
Yeah.
She can sneak around. She can go through vents, different things. She can do probably more cool stuff than that, but I didn't have time to kind of look up everything.
Well, the reason I say choke is because as soon as the mist started coming in, Jubilee recognized. She says, "Everybody, don't breathe that in."
Oh yeah. So. I think when she can turn into that, I think there's a almost like a pheromone kind of aspect to it.
Okay.
That can probably affect, maybe knock you out, or at least like kind of lull you into a more drowsy state, kind of an aspect.
Cool. All right. And Gargoyle?
Gargoyle. Yep. So she has mostly a physical mutation.
And before people are screaming at us, you're probably going, it's pronounced gargoyle. The word is No, it's spelled gargoyle, Goulle, not gargoyle. So that's why we're pronouncing it that way.
She's got like big bat gargoyle like wings. Has horns, claws, and also like some heightened senses and strength. But it is mostly a physical mutation there.
Right.
Barnacle. So he can turn moisture, so whether that's in the air or any that's like inside of your body, because we're a lot of water and fluid. He can turn that into a hardened shell. So similar to barnacles, which is why his name is Barnacle, because it looks like a barnacle. Mm-hmm. So he can make that around himself, like we saw in the comic. He kind of made an armor look for himself out of that. Did, yeah. But he can also do that around other people or in objects and things. So he can pull the moisture and
creates
turn it
an armor for himself.
Yeah, an armor, kind of a deal.
Okay.
Projector. So he can create energy constructs and force fields.
A la Green Lantern. Okay.
Yes, but not to that kind of extent. So at least he hasn't been shown in the comics a lot to get to that extent. He probably could at some point, but he's mostly been able to just kind of create more simple shapes, constructs. Like we just see him kind of make a hard pillar fist kind of at Jubilee and Sunspot.
Yeah, and he punches them with it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I bet if he was around more, he could probably do Green Lantern-esque stuff.
I mean, he had a neat idea, projector, and he's projecting light. So yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have a very long comic history. Frenzy, so she's got superhuman strength, speed, durability, and stamina.
And we saw her before, right?
Yeah. Yes, I think she was in issue 1 at the very end.
Yeah,
when Exodus shows up and breaks out all the mutants. So she's pretty invulnerable. She's got all that superhuman stuff.
Yeah.
And outside of Amelia Vaught of this group, she's got the most comic history and stories. Okay. She's started on teams like the Acolytes here and the Alliance of Evil, which was mentioned in issue 1. But she's become a part of Sword and X Factor at a few points, and other teams and things throughout her history.
And if people don't know what Sword is, that was kind of more the attack version of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And then it became the space version.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, the space front. Mm-hmm.
There you go. So cool. So that's the rundown of this group that jumps them in the sewers. I mean, it was a neat little group. Not, and that's what this comic and the show seems to be doing. They're bringing all kinds of characters, all kinds of mutants out of the woodworks that we don't know about.
Yeah,
so
a lot of cameos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Plus, there was 5 others standing in the background behind Frenzy that weren't part of the action. She was just like, that's my backup team. And I was kind of wondering if you knew any of those guys.
I didn't look into it that deeply. The 2 that I knew off the top of my head was Vanisher, who is the one that was shirtless and had looking like a big fin.
Okay, yep.
So he's a Morlock. Fin, yeah, okay. So they're all Morlocks at some point or another of the Morlocks. Because those are the ones that she was kind of recruiting.
Yeah.
It seemed like. So he's a teleporter.
Okay.
And then the one in the front that looked like a big green swamp monster kind of a guy.
Yeah.
His name is Seamus Mulligan. That's his real name.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because there was just one panel. They were just in the background.
Yeah, I didn't really look them up too much.
Yeah. So Frenzy informs them that she's gathering all of mutant kind to join her and join Exodus to become acolytes, where he's building up a movement, a better way forward for mutants, as he's proclaiming, and something that Magneto never could accomplish. He's doing a much better job, and I'm going to succeed. And it looks like most of the Morlocks have joined up to this cause.
Yeah, at this point, because right now, I mean, the X-Men are still missing at this point, since we're in the middle of the X-Force stuff. And, the relations are back to being super fractured and stuff. So, and most of the Morlocks, as was said in this, went to Genosha and unfortunately probably perished on Genosha, like Callisto, who was the leader. So to them, there's probably not a whole lot to them showing up and asking to get joined. That's probably a little bit of hope for them that something could be better. So I'm sure the Morlocks would be like, there's nothing left here for us. So joining up. And I know that Frenzy specifically said they'd set up staging areas around the world to get mutants in and offer them a place in Exodus acolytes. So basically sounds like they are trying to recruit as many mutants as possible, which would make sense for Exodus since his power set, the more followers and people with strong faith around him, so if they start believing in him, the more powerful he becomes. So he wants to probably get as many as possible.
Yeah. That could be scary if he ends up becoming like a, this preacher that thousands start following. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while that's all happening, Caliban comes out of nowhere and starts talking to Jubilee. So they're kind of hiding around the corner in the sewer down a different passageway. And they're secretly talking and they're catching up. And she wants him to come help, but he's scared. He's like, no, I don't want to go near Apocalypse ever again. They hurt Caliban. I don't want to be that. But she convinces him, and he's like, well, since Caliban trusts you, he always talks in the third person. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like, Caliban trusts you, so therefore I will help you on your mission kind of thing. And I thought, okay, they have a history together, those two. So trust her, yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, while that's going on, Psylocke picks up on it with her psychic abilities, and she sneaks up behind Caliban, grabs him by the head, and according to her, she psionically boosts his power, his tracking ability, giving her the location of War and the Horsemen. I didn't know she could do that. Psionically boost somebody's powers?
I guess so. Or just, that's what it specifically says, but
yeah,
probably reaching so deep in his mind, he didn't know he actually had all of those locations, since she was just being able to pull that out.
Yeah. So, kind of cool. Psylocke's she's proven to be very useful.
Yes.
So now Cable and the team leave because they've got the location that they're looking for, and they're trying to get out of the sewers, and Amelia wants to stop them, but she's like, we can't let them go. But Frenzy's like, yeah, let them go, because maybe they'll lead us exactly to where we want to go. Well, what is she talking about? Where do they want to go? Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure. I read it as maybe 2 ways, and I'm just like, this is all just speculation because I don't know where the season's going to go and how everything's going to tie in. But I read it as potentially getting led to where the other Horsemen are. That means there's probably other mutants gathered because they know that they're following Apocalypse. And, because the Horsemen probably draw power and then other people to Apocalypse, which means, hey, there's more mutants there. We can sway them to our side. They're going to lead us to other big groups of mutants. who are trying to find maybe a power to believe in or follow at this point. Or because I don't exactly know where the story with Exodus is going to go in this season, because in the comics, he's been both on Apocalypse's side and also against Apocalypse. So I don't know if potentially maybe Exodus's plans is to go against Apocalypse, and if this is like, oh, they have the information on these horsemen of Apocalypse, so we'll know if we follow them or something of that nature, that we'll end up finding out Apocalypse's plans or know where Apocalypse is. So once Exodus has his forces that he wants, maybe they can go after him.
Right.
So not sure. Yeah, not sure.
Okay. Not sure. And that's where the issue ends.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like I said, so now you go from that, watch the opening sequence or the title sequence, and then the mission begins where they catch up to War and the fight breaks out in episode 2. So there you go.
Yes, so watch the title sequence, pause, read the comic, and then come back.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Or watch the opening sequence, read the comic, or pause, read the comic, watch the title sequence, and jump right in. Either or. But there you go. That's how it works. And that is all we got for that. So we are going to jump now into the episode that I was talking about before. Weapon X Lies and DVDs. We're going to move into that. Oh, wait a second. We have favorite scenes from the comic. I totally forgot. I'm scrolling ahead here because I looked at your Lockheed's lair being empty.
Yeah. It's not empty for the episode.
Yeah. There's nothing there. So let's get to our favorite scenes out of the comic book and see what's going on there.
What's wrong, Cher?
You know what happens when I touch somebody. You want to end up in the hospital?
Maybe it's worth it, no?
All right. What's your favorite scene out of the comic? Or your favorite panel, your favorite page?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, it's two things, but they're both kind of short. So mine are the training sequence that's at the beginning. I already mentioned I like seeing that in here, because seeing more of that, I think in the show would have been cool too, but I understand why they didn't include those. And also when they contextually name drop Red and Slim and confirm that's what Nathan has been calling them in this universe the whole time. So
yeah.
I just wish it was in the show. And this is why I mentioned how this issue felt like deleted scenes of the first 2 episodes, because it's stuff that's tying directly in. So
pretty much.
that's my favorite parts.
Deleted scenes, interludes, or like Survivor calls them. If you watch the TV show Survivor, after the episode airs, then on CBS.com they have secret scenes, and it's
secret scenes.
It's stuff that they just didn't show in the TV show. I'm like, oh, brother. So there you go. Well, mine I'm calling Bikini Ninja because there's a panel right after the training in the very beginning of the book when Cable calls them in for a mission briefing. Jubilee has some type of snarky response about Psylocke calling her the Bikini Ninja, and it just made me laugh. The Bikini Ninja. And then for me, I got a second part too. There's a really cool panel later on when Psylocke realized that they're about to be ambushed in the sewer. It's a full comic panel of just her, and she's in this really cool pose, and she looks shocked and surprised and pissed off at the same time. She just looks really damn cool in that one panel. It's a great shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. A little bit of Psylocke love for you. All right, let's get to our ratings for the actual TV episode, Weapon X Lies in DVDs.
Sunspot here, Pessoal. Martin and Abby are about to break it down with the ratings for the latest episode. Check it out.
So, thank you, Sunspot. I'm giving this one an 8 brooding missions. Wow. Well, maybe not as emotionally deep as what we just went through last episode, but if you at all are fans of the comics from way back, and I'll show you in a second here, man, oh man, like they just brought back another very iconic cover to life, and we're going to talk about it, but bringing in the Brood just like that was a complete surprise to me. Like, I'm just watching this episode, they're going to go to Mission X, Wolverine wants to get his adamantium bat, da-da-da. I did not see the Brood coming in this episode at all. Even when the birds and stuff, and they're all leaking green, I just thought, zombies. I did not think the Brood at all. It was also fun to have the old team that Wolverine used to run with hang together again. I mean, there's a lot of history there that most people realize, and I know you've shared a lot of it with us. We'll get into a little bit more tonight.
Yeah, we
will. with Wolverine's history, because he's been alive for hundreds of years, so there's lots of history with these characters, and it's really, really fun. But I'm just going to throw up real quick for the video people. When I say about the comic book history, like I pulled out my issues of the Brood when they arrived, when they're attacking, and it's just fun, cool stuff with the Brood. So the iconic cover, we'll talk about it. I couldn't find that issue. I had it. I think I may have sold it because it was worth a lot of friggin' money. We'll talk about that one so you'll know exactly the scene we're meaning. But
yes.
But what's your rating for this one?
I am also at an 8. So I gave this 8 allegiances, aliens, and action movies. So I loved the horror aspects of this episode. Horror is one of my favorite genres, so super fun. They have some homages to movies like John Carpenter's The Thing in here, and also Aliens.
Oh yeah,
like there's some very specific things just in here. I also love the Brood, so seeing them is always a joy, because the original animated series had an episode with some knockoff Brood because the network, they wouldn't let them use the Brood because they were too scary. So they had an episode with some aliens called The Colony that did the exact same thing, but in a less scary way.
Right.
So it's good to see them like actually here as the Brood. And yeah, they're some of my favorite X-Men villains and aliens. We'll get into that more in some of the Brood history, but I also thought it was a great episode for Morph. And it was actually like intriguing to see some of the dynamics and Weapon X related characters here and in this context, because sometimes Weapon X stories can feel overdone at this point now that we've had like 30 years of them happening, and a lot of Wolverine things. So I do feel like there was some like character development and emotional beats that were missing or could have been pulled on more, which is why I'm at an 8. But it was a very fun horror romp. Me.
Yeah, and I'm with you. We'll talk about Morph too. I am with you. This really was a strong episode for them. So yeah, I got a couple points about them in there. Yeah. It's the Brood. They're very much aliens. If you really, that's what they're based on. They have different power sets here, obviously, but it's really is an aliens vibe. It just made you think of that Aliens movie with Sigourney Weaver. That's what it feels like. When you look at the comic books and stuff, you'll see there's a lot of similarities there. But yeah, cool. All right, let's get into our discussion for this episode.
You look nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
So, quick note before we even get anywhere, the opening sequence has Forge and Bishop part of it now, or at least just for this episode. But that's the first time I've noticed them getting the title card and a little action spot.
Yeah, so Bishop actually got one in the last 2 episodes. I don't think we mentioned it, but since he was part of that team. But yeah, Forge's is completely new. This is the first time we have a Forge one, so that was cool. Yeah, it was. I know I almost, the first couple of episode ones almost set me up to being like, oh, are they going to do a Weapon X? Like, Sabretooth's going to get a title and like Lady Deathstrike? But no, we just got the normal one, which is totally fine. But I almost got set up expectations. And also in the intro, there's a recreation of a comic panel that's like almost 1-to-1. So it's the one of all of them in their black and yellow Team X gear. They're like saving a blonde woman and shooting at things. So that's the blonde woman's name is Janice Hollenbeck. We don't actually have to care about her, but that's her. She's a scientist that they're trying to save at this point. But this is a panel that comes directly from X-Men issue number 5 from 1991. Whoa. For people who are interested. So. Okay.
Well, I mean, and X-Men, that's like a restart of X-Men, right? Because the comics that held up to the camera here, the Brood, they first showed up in, it was like the Uncanny X-Men issue 162, 63, 64.
Yeah, so, there's...
Up to, actually, this one on, it was like 6 or 7 issues they went on for.
So... numbering in comics is a little weird, even up until then, because there's a whole bunch of titles. So like Uncanny X-Men has been rebooted, but continuing in legacy numbers for a long time. So at this point, like Uncanny would be up to like 700 something in the modern age. Like if
they kept it going, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yes, which they do legacy numbers, so they'll like reboot to a number 1. So like there's a whole bunch of Uncanny number 1s over the years.
Yeah,
because they can raise ticket prices and things of that nature. But yeah, so like X-Men, when I say X-Men number 5, that's just the adjective list. So it's just called X-Men. It's not Uncanny X-Men. It's just X-Men. But when that title restarted. So this is just the 5th of that one that started in the 90s.
And Uncanny X-Men, it's Uncanny X-Men what I have here. This is the original first run of X-Men ever.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the original. And what year were you born, Abby?
96.
Because guess what here? I'm looking at my Brood comics, and they are...
They're from 82?
September, October, November 1982.
Yeah.
10 years before you were even alive, I was reading these.
A bunch of my favorite stories are from the 80s runs, so I like some of the older stuff. So
that was the first appearance of the Brood, and then the other 2 issues I held up, the Brood is back. They showed up in issues 232, 33, 34. There's a bunch of them that came back as well. And that I can't see a year.
That would be
that's probably 86. It looks like
86.
Yeah.
Maybe because that's in the Outback, so it's probably 87, 88.
So damn small.
It might be around there, but it might be 86.
Let me put on my magnifying glasses. The writing is so damn small. It could be 88. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's from the Outback era. So Excalibur was 88, so that's probably 88.
Yeah. So fun stuff though. Like it was fun to pull out these old comics. I'm gonna have to actually go through and see what ones I have left, because I know I found the Evolutionary War. We'd mentioned that here on the show, and I found all the old Mr. Sinister comics that we were just talking about on the show here. I found the Mr. Sinister when he
the Inferno,
the Inferno series when he shows up and Madeline Pryor becomes the Goblin Queen and all. Like I have all of those issues. Like wow, we just talked about this on the podcast. It's so cool that I got the actual issues that these things are based on. So that was all of season 1, which is just pretty cool. So, yeah, fun stuff. So, Apocalypse Now. The opening of the episode, just like in any old war, since we're in the 80s, I mean, just like any of the old war movies of the 80s, like Platoon or Full Metal Jacket, this opens up like watching one of those war movies. There's a team heading on a mission somewhere, and there's classic rock and roll music playing. There's over-the-top stories being shared. They're laughing, they're drinking, or whatever. I was like, I feel like I'm about, like we're going to war. This is a war movie.
Well, it's funny you picked Apocalypse Now. Not our apocalypse, but
that's what I mean. Yeah,
that's
that was
funny.
A play on words. I did that on purpose.
Yes, good. Yeah. But I think an interesting fact, fun fact, that the song, because there's like a rock song playing underneath them when they're in the helicopter, and this is actually the Newton Brothers who do the score. They created this song as part of it. I believe it's called "Baby Come Home," which is what I was looking up. And so it's meant to mimic, one of the kind of pop songs not pop, but like rock you might hear in those 80s action movies. So that's kind of fun. This is a fun fact there. That's Newton Brothers. It's not some song that they just licensed for this. They created it. Yeah.
I mean, in all those war movies, Platoon, like all the ones I mentioned, it's always 50s or 60s rock and roll. That's what's always played during those war movies. So yeah, it did sound something similar to that. So that's really cool. Really cool. Mm-hmm. So we're on this jet plane and we're heading into battle, and we got Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, Maverick, and Garrison Kane. Mm-hmm. And I'll when we break it down, I want to ask you a couple questions about Sabretooth. Yeah. So break those guys down, because Maverick, Garrison Kane, people don't really know those guys. Lady Deathstrike they're familiar with, but and of course Sabretooth, but break these guys down for us.
Yeah, I know probably most people at this point are familiar with Sabretooth, but I'll still Victor Creed, that's his real name.
Yeah.
Because that his last name does come up a bit later. I have a point. But I know most people know of him, but he's a mutant. He's got a healing factor just like Wolverine. Mm-hmm. He's got superhuman strength, and he's got his razor sharp claws and teeth, and he has no problem leaning into his animalistic side. He does so a lot more than Wolverine.
Not at
and
all,
he and Wolverine has been just feuding forever.
Forever, yeah. We'll talk about that in a second.
Rundown,
yeah,
on him. So Lady Deathstrike, so her real name is Yuriko Oyama. In the original, the original animated series, so the animated timeline that we're in, she and Wolverine have a past where they dated, and Wolverine said that he had to go on one last covert mission, and then he'd stop doing the life that he was living, and he'd go back and to her, and they'd have a life together.
Now, is that, sorry to interrupt you, is that, because in the opening sequence, there's a quick shot of him kissing her.
Yes, that is.
She doesn't.
That is a shot from. That's a shot from the original animated series that they reanimated for this.
Okay, but she's not Lady Deathstrike at that moment.
Correct.
Okay.
She's still just Yuriko at that moment.
Okay.
But so on that last mission that he said he had to go on, that ended up being the mission that he gets captured by Weapon X and then goes through the adamantium process and loses all his memories and all of that stuff. So he never goes back to Yuriko.
Oh man.
And so, as referenced in this episode a little bit, Yuriko's father is the one that developed the adamantium bonding process that they put Logan through.
Okay.
And when Logan does go through that process the very first time, he because he loses his memories and the whole trauma of everything, he destroys the lab and escapes. And Yuriko's father ends up getting killed in that whole escape. And so, because of this, Yuriko wants to get revenge because she doesn't know what happened exactly to her father, but knows that he died. Right. And so she ends up transforming herself, getting other smart people that her father knew to transform herself into a cyborg with cybernetic parts, and then the adamantium, the nail claws that everyone is familiar with. So she gets adamantium bonded to herself as well.
Just on her claws, though?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just the nails. Yeah. I don't think the rest of her cybernetics are adamantium.
Right. Okay.
So she does that so she can go get revenge on Wolverine because it's his fault that her father got killed and he never came back and all of that stuff. In the comics, it's similar, but it's not, exactly like that because her and Logan don't date ever in the comics. I think they did a little mashup of Mariko Yoshida, who Logan does date in the comics. But I think they just kind of mashed those two together for this version. And yeah, I believe in the comics that Yuriko actually killed her father, and she doesn't go on like this whole revenge spree because he was actually a very abusive father. So I think they just kind of changed that here. It's the cyborg, getting the cybernetics part is kind of the same.
Okay. So who in one of the old X-Men movies, or was it X-Men Origins Wolverine? One of them, it's all based in Japan, and he catches up to a Asian woman that he was in love with. Which one was that?
That is the Wolverine, the movie. But then that would be Mariko.
That would be Mariko, so not Yuriko here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not Yuriko.
Okay.
So there's Mariko, there's Yuriko, and then there's Yukio.
He likes his Japanese ladies, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's that samurai. He keeps going back to Japan.
Yeah.
So a lot of people there. But yeah, so that's Lady Deathstrike's back.
Okay, she's got a deep story. Yeah, really deep story.
She does, and they did more fleshing out in this episode, which I like too.
Okay.
Because I think most people just know that she's a Wolverine villain, but it's painted less as kind of villainous, I think, here.
Yeah.
Or at least justified in kind of some of the things she did.
Yeah.
Okay, then Maverick. So Maverick, his name is Christoph or Christopher Nord. He goes by Christoph or Christopher because he's German.
Right.
He can absorb and redirect kinetic energy, a little bit similar to Bishop. We don't really see him do it too much. He usually just was using his guns because he's also very skilled in, weaponry and hand-to-hand combat. But he is a mutant that can absorb and redirect kinetic energy.
Well, he probably feeds it into his guns.
He might too, yeah.
Okay.
He was part of the original Team X. He says at one point, always Team X, once Team X, always Team X, when he was talking to Wolverine.
Yeah.
And he was also part of the Weapon X program, so when they do the brainwashing, like memory erasing process, he's one of the ones in that video.
Well, we see a clip of it, and they're all there, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're all there, yeah. Okay.
And so, he also appeared before in the original animated series episode that was Weapon X Lies in Videotape, which this one, the title's
the sequel.
A sequel to this.
Yeah. That's actually kind of cool that they're doing a sequel to the original series.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of fun.
That's pretty cool.
And then we get to Garrison Kane, who is a person I have never seen before. So I was like, who is this guy?
What? They threw Abby off the track. What the heck?
He doesn't have a very long comics history. And his outfit looked very similar to one that Colossus had. So I was like, is this not in the episode, but they did a promo poster with the whole team, and I was like, is Colossus in this? And then I was like, that's not Colossus. He's got guns coming out of his arms. But so Garrison Kane, so he was created as part of an X-Force team of Cable's that was called the Six Pack. That I know, yep, that sounds funny. He doesn't have too much in the way of a comic history, but he's not a mutant. He's just a normal human. But he was a soldier, and at one point he was on a mission that ended up all of his limbs got blown off. So he was basically a quadriplegic, and they ended up getting all of his limbs replaced with cybernetic limbs. So his arms and his legs, they're all cybernetic. And then at some point, he was involved with the Weapon X program because of that, getting all the cybernetics. But then at some point, when Cable recruits him onto his X-Force team, he does bring him into the future and upgrades his limbs to have those plasma cannons that we see.
Oh.
So that's just a random side note. Obviously, that did not happen in this continuity. He just gets them from Weapon X probably, but that's all I found. But
hey,
I did not know who that was.
But this is part of my favorite part of covering this, because there's so many characters that are getting introduced and shown on here, and I just love finding out about all of them, because I recognize a ton of them, but I don't know everything about them. So just getting to ask the question, who is that guy and what's that girl do? Like it's just fun to learn about them, because it's almost like the mutants. There's as many mutants out there as there's
so many at this point.
People part of the Justice League on DC. Like it's just fun.
Yeah. At this point, there's so many mutants.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's good, and I mean they're not all super powered. They're all just but it's fun.
I mean, this is how some people find like their favorite characters or other interesting characters to look up, because they just see them and they're like, that person looks cool, or they had a cool power, and then they go research them. So
yeah, like Skids and what was her name?
Rusty and Skids, or the girl with the hawk flashlight. Like there's just fun little things that I'm just like, ooh, I like that. That's cool. Who's that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got two questions about Sabretooth here. He later on in the episode, he says he stopped counting his birthdays at 200. So how old is he, and how old is Wolverine exactly?
That is hard to say, because I mean, with comic continuity and everything, continuity, it keeps changing.
But there's got to be a rough age.
Yeah, so, like Wolverine was born sometime in the early 1800s.
See, that is so surprising. Most people that just watch the movies, they do not know the history here, like how old he actually is.
Mm-hmm.
1800s.
Early 1800s. So I want to say maybe like it was somewhere in between like the 1820s or the 1830s, I think. I don't remember if the comics give like a specific date, but it's somewhere in there.
God, have they ever explored that? Like gone way back in time to tell us stories of Logan when he was 20, 50, whatever?
There's a lot of retcon stories, or like stories that came out after, because for a long time, like he was just completely like no one knew where he came from or anything of that nature, besides maybe the Weapon X, or like that he got metal claws at some point.
Right.
But X-Men, so there's a comic series called X-Men Origins Wolverine. So
it's a one
I
issue,
know,
or
it's like I think it's a mini series. I don't know how many issues it is.
Oh, okay.
I believe it came out around like 2009-ish when the movie was coming out.
Right.
It's not the same as the movie, but
so
it's
fairly new.
Yeah, so it goes into like when he was born, like him as a child developing the bone claws and all of that, because the bone claws were like a big retcon.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have that pre like 2009.
No, yeah,
I
remember that, yeah.
So those were retcon, but there's a ton of stories now that go into Wolverine's past, and there's writers who a lot doing like stories set in like older time periods, and they're like, oh, Wolverine shows up because we know he was alive, so let's have him show up. And then so he's kind of everywhere at once at all time periods, because he just keeps showing up in all of the older stories, like
fighting in World War II with Captain America, right? Like,
and then he's all over the place.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of stories. I do not have them all straight in my head, or care about all of the retcons, but I know at least the general.
That's Logan. What about Sabretooth?
That's Logan. Sabretooth is older.
What?
Yeah, Sabretooth is older, so he's somewhere over 200. I don't know any like a specific time period or date, but he's supposed to be older than Logan.
Wow.
There's a time when people in the comics speculated that Sabretooth was actually Logan's father. And then that got
thought to be brothers at one point.
Brothers at one point. They did brothers in the movie, the Origins movie. But like, I think that got thrown out that they were like actually related just because they had kind of similar power sets. But he's older, yeah. So I'd say like Wolverine is probably around like maybe 150 or so here, but Sabretooth is over 200.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And he always has looked like that. Like his mutation hasn't changed. Has he always looked like a big lion kind of guy?
He's probably developed, after your mutation starts around your puberty or whatnot, is kind of when he got the more like animalistic side. But there's some stories about Sabretooth's origin and kind of how he grew up, and he always had kind of that animalistic, vicious kind of aspect to him, even since he was like a teenager.
So I think Sabretooth has so much history, almost as much as Wolverine. Like, I think if they had made him a hero, he could have been really cool that way too. Like, I mean, he's a great villain because of his counter to Wolverine, but they've put a lot into him that I think he could be. He's one of my favorite villains just because there's so much to him. But
there are stories of him as a hero.
Yeah.
They're all like alternate world or
of
Earth
course.
Sabretooth. So like Age of Apocalypse, like he's one of the main X-Men in Age of Apocalypse. And the Exiles and the New Exile series, Another World, Sabretooth is like the leader of the Exiles team and is trying to do good across the multiverse and save elements of that. So there are like stories of good Sabretooth, but our Sabretooth, not so much.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, just looking at this episode, when they're walking in and see all the dead scientists all around, there's a scientist laying over the desk, and he just stabs all of his claws into him, and then he's like smelling the blood. I'm like, oh my god, he just has no respect.
Yeah,
not at all. But because you said when you were giving his power set, like he has superhuman strength. Wolverine does not. So he is definitely far stronger than Wolverine, right?
Yeah, I mean, Wolverine has it to an extent, and you have to kind of like attribute it to him, even if it's never said on the page, because with an adamantium skeleton, adamantium is super dense, so he'd weigh like 400 pounds.
so he's I just always thought of him as just super physically fit. I never really
physically fit, so he has some strength, but like I'd say, Sabretooth has like definitely increased strength for sure.
He's twice the size of him too.
Yeah, he's giant. I mean, he's giant, but
he's big. Yeah. And is that his hair coming out? The big yellow mane? Is that his hair? Or is that just part of the costume?
The one around his neck is just his costume.
Okay, but all the yellow hair going down
the
his
hair
back.
on the top of his head, that's his. But like he's got basically a fursuit.
Yeah. Okay.
Around him. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well. One last comment about Sabretooth. I thought it was so funny when they're in the jet flying to where they're going. He calls Morph Putty Boy.
And then Morph reads him to filth about his uniform.
Yeah. That's making me joke. Putty Boy. I just laughed at. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I just want to bring this up at the beginning before we get too deep into the episode, because it's a running aspect throughout the whole thing. But Wolverine is being very cagey this entire episode about why he got the team back together. Everyone seems to be under the influence or under the pretense that they think they're on a mission to specifically take down Weapon X, or at least go take down Dr. Cornelius once and for all.
That's what he got them together for, yeah.
Yeah, that hurt them the most and turned them into weapons. But I think, I'm just bringing that up now because it comes back throughout the episode. And just a side note, I would have liked to have seen how Wolverine got the whole team back together instead of just them already there. Just because, like, how did he get Sabretooth and Deathstrike to come when they always want to kill him?
Yeah, true.
I think that would have been a bit of a more interesting mid-credit scene than Captain America and Black Widow giving him a file. So maybe him showing up to Sabretooth or something and promising something to him, I think that would have been
Well, maybe neat. They wanted to think it'd be a surprise as to who...
Yeah, potentially, but I think it would have been fun. Because they're all, like, laughing in the back of the helicopter, and he's not punching Wolverine into the sky.
No, that's what I mean. It felt like an opening to a war movie. So yeah, you're right. There should have been something there to lead. Like, how did he get this team together? And where they're just buddy and having fun. And yeah, I don't know. I wonder. Maybe he just used nostalgia. Hey guys, Weapon X, let's go. It's the old band get back together.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But
so they're on this plane and they're flying towards their mission, like I said, with the cool opening. And the plane gets hit by a flock of birds. But it turns out they're not normal birds. And they're big, they're nasty, they look like vultures. But they hit the glass, they hit the propellers, they hit the engines, everything, and the plane goes down. It's actually a real world phenomenon. It happens a lot, like planes being hit by flocks of geese or whatever. So they go down. The plane crashes in the forest, in this wintry forest. And at first, we only see Lady Deathstrike, Morph, and Maverick seemingly survive the crash. Where's everybody else? And they're wandering around. They look at all the dead birds laying on the ground, and they're all bleeding this glowing green blood. And immediately for me, I don't know if you play these games, but immediately, because they see the crash and like, we got to get to the facility. And I'm like, this is Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil. Crash in the forest, try to make your way towards the mansion and survive. And guess what? There's zombies everywhere. Oh my God, what's happening? What's going on? It just felt like that. Crash in the forest, head to the facility.
I'm not a video game person, so I don't know a lot of what would be potential video game nods and references.
Okay, well, I just described it to you. Just very similar opening. Yeah. So, yeah. And then, so after that's followed by a polar bear attack, but this is a demonic polar bear that's bleeding green as well, and it basically knocks Wolverine down and stomps on him, and it's like crushing his chest. And then Sabretooth saves Wolverine by jumping in there, grappling the polar bear and breaking its neck. And that's where I was like, yeah, he's definitely stronger. Like, Wolverine would not be able to do that.
No, especially not without his adamantium.
Yeah.
I don't think he could.
He couldn't break the neck of a... I mean, that polar bear's powerful. It was big, too. So
polar bears are big. In general, non-infected ones are big in general, too.
So then at this moment, I'm like, where's Garrison? We haven't seen Garrison yet. What the hell happened to him? And then I rewound the episode, like, oh, yeah. When Morph's looking at the crashed plane on fire, he's kind of surprised or scared. The camera kind of pulls back, and you just see off to the left of the screen, I'm assuming a dead Garrison hanging upside down from one of the trees. I'm like, whoa, did he actually die in the plane crash?
He was impaled straight through his stomach.
Whoa.
So, like, his eyes and mouth were still just wide open. And him just there. I was not expecting that out of the gate. For sure. Like, I mean, we've already proved it with all of the episodes, but like, this sure is not your regular Saturday morning cartoon anymore, because brutal. Like,
that's
I
why
saw
it
that and I was like,
me.
whoa, we are in like deep horror territory already.
you just killed somebody on screen. Like, this cartoon is killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Gambit and Magneto, of course, but just characters off on the side and all the Genosha attacks. Like,
yeah.
This cartoon is killing people, which is funny because we're covering Justice League Unlimited and nobody dies over there, like, ever.
No, I mean, I don't remember what year that is, but it's probably still too early for it to be more adult animation.
2006, was it? Something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But crazy. It just crazy. Death right off the bat. So they end up at this hidden facility, like I was saying, and they get inside, and there's dead scientists everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Creep factor turned up, like you're saying, horror movie, here we go.
Yes. No turning back. We're straight into a horror movie now.
Yeah. And again, very Resident Evil-like. Instead of it being a science lab in Resident Evil, it's a gigantic mansion in the middle of the forest. And like, what the hell is that doing out here? And when they walk inside and the characters split up, they come across a couple dead bodies, and then they see the first zombie, and it's chewing on one of the bodies, and they're like, oh my God, what is that? Blam, blam, blam. They kill it, and then off the adventure starts. And you're wandering. The whole game is about you wandering around this mansion trying to solve the mystery of what the heck is going on. And it was experiments to create the zombie virus. So they come upon Dr. Cornelius.
Mm-hmm.
And is this the original guy who gave Wolverine his adamantium? That's my first question. Because I'm thinking it can't be. That was years and years ago, wasn't it, when Wolverine got his adamantium?
The short answer is no.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the history here with him and the facility? Is it the same one that did all the torture to Wolverine way back then? Like, this facility that they're at, is it the one that all of that happened?
So this specific facility is not. This is a different Weapon X one, but they are. It seems like they're still like deep into the Canadian wilderness, or something like that.
They never said where they were. They never said
where it is. I'm just assuming, because most of the Sabretooth, Maverick, all of them at some point or another were in Canada because of Weapon X and Department H and Garrison Kane, all of that stuff.
That's so funny.
And it's probably a reference. I think the Thing was up in the Canadian snowy wilderness too, so it could be a reference to that.
The movie The Thing with Kurt Russell.
Yeah, the movie The Thing.
No,
yep.
that was like in the Arctic, or it was up in the Arctic.
Oh yeah, no, that was.
Yeah.
But it still looks kind of Arctic-y, so
yeah,
it's definitely...
It's just so funny. Canada doesn't hardly get any comic book love at all, except it's horror movies and Wolverine's origin and blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then we get Alpha Flight eventually.
And Alpha Flight, yeah. But to like the question of like, when has Wolverine gotten his adamantium? Is this the Doctor? So it is a bit of a confusing continuity. In the comics, at least, as usual, full of retcons and added in later stories and all of that. But historically...
But we know you could put it all straight for us.
Or try to. Hopefully people can follow this. But historically, so Wolverine didn't have his adamantium until, like, pretty soon before his first appearance on the X-Men. So at this point in the comics, they were still going by, like, when the comics were published is what continuity was. So he appeared in... he appeared in 74 in a Hulk comic first, but then in 75 in the X-Men on the all different team. But because he was captured by Weapon X while he was working for the Canadian version of the CIA, and experimented on, like, it didn't happen that long ago in his continuity pre-joining the X-Men. So it wasn't like 40, 50 years plus ago is when all of this happened. It would be more like 10.
Yeah, like he never joined the X-Men as his original self. He was already full-on Weapon X'd up.
Yes, he already had the adamantium and all of that stuff happened to him. So.
When Professor X found him eventually, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some stories do kind of place it potentially after World War II, like it might have been around there, but a majority of them put it somewhere in like the 70s, 80s, which in comic continuity would have been like 5 to 10 years pre his comic book appearance on the X-Men.
Yeah.
And also Wolverine having a bunch of missing memories and false memories and things of that nature make it hard to like actually pinpoint. But I'm going then in this show, it seems like maybe 10 years max before he joined the X-Men. Because all of the characters, so like Sabretooth, Maverick, Silver Fox in the original, when they were all going in the original Weapon X Lies and videotape episode, they go back and find the facility where all the memory stuff happened, and it's still standing and looking very new and all of that stuff. And they look the same age-ish, so they all have, kind of healing factors, or they don't age as well. That's Weapon X gave that to some people who didn't have the healing factors. But yeah, so long story short, no, it's within his recent kind of history. And Dr. Cornelius is, yes, the scientist that oversaw a lot of all these experiments for Weapon X, like the adamantium and Wolverine and different things, doing the like mind-wiping, brainwashing kind of stuff. So I already referenced the original episode, but that's all throughout this. But that's the long way of saying recent history, not longer history for Wolverine.
So this Dr. Cornelius could very well, he was back then.
Yeah, and
like he worked on all of them because we saw
all of them. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He's kind of the connecting factor at Weapon X for all of them.
Yeah, because they all recognized him as soon as they saw him. They're like, "Whoa, the Doctor! Like, we all want revenge on you right now." Like, yeah. Okay.
And for Yuriko, for Lady Deathstrike, she wasn't experimented on by him, but he's the one that, he stole her father's adamantium stuff and did all of the bonding and gave it away, and she's like, yeah, you suck still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go from apocalypse now to aliens now. So talk about jumping in fast. No wasting time here. They barely get anything out of the dock, and he vomits green ooze and then suddenly transforms into something else. And oh my God, it's the Brood out of nowhere. Holy crap, where'd that come from? I wasn't expecting that at all. I just want to ask, did you see the Brood coming at that point?
At this point, I would say, unfortunately, yes, because I made some connections in the trailer.
In the trailer.
If I had not seen the trailer or connected some things, that I would have been like, oh, the Brood are here. But I did make some connections that they were at this facility in it.
See, in the trailer, I wasn't thinking. I completely forgot about the trailer.
Yeah, well, that's good. I was like, oh, I know the Brood are coming in this episode.
Oh,
so it wasn't a surprise for me.
Not as much. Okay. Well, this is why we're here. It's so fun having you on the show. It's history time again.
It is.
Tell us the story of the Brood, because I've got all the old comics here that I've showed you guys already. From their first appearance, why they're here, what happened, how the X-Men defeated them. Plus, they came back again, because I've got the issues here. I don't remember all the story. I'd have to actually read these again to go through it all.
Yeah,
and
they're good, so you should.
Yeah. Well, I'm missing some issues. I don't have all of them, so I'm going to have to I'm going to have to go hit some old comic book shops or something. But give us the history of the Brood. And one little point I want to say, I don't remember them having wings. Did they always have wings and fly?
Yes.
Okay. Because none of them on the covers of the comic books have wings. That's why I'm questioning. Yeah, none of them have wings on the comic book covers here.
Even the one with Storm? The Storm one?
The one with Storm. Nope, it's just a creepy crawly on the ground alien.
Well, yeah, there are ones with wings. I don't think all of them do. I think there's like in bug colonies, there's different types. So I think some have wings and some don't.
So, since 1982, this is no longer spoiler. Storm turns into one as well.
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
Yeah. All right, history time. Tell us about the Brood.
Yes, I love the Brood. Because I'm like a big cosmic horror, alien, like existential horror person. So this is very much in my wheelhouse.
I'm getting in my comfortable position here.
So the Brood, they first showed up back in 1982. In the very first issue they showed up in was Uncanny X-Men number 155. So that's a bit for the ones that you have. So the X-Men and the Space Jammers were trying to help Lilandra get information back to the Shi'ar Empire. They are on Earth at this moment, but and Lilandra's with them.
Oh, she's right there.
Yes, yeah, because she comes back in the story. Yep.
Okay.
So at this point, they're on they're on Earth. The Space Jammers are with them. So they're trying to help Lilandra get info back to the Shi'ar and help her get her place back on the throne, because at this point she's still like a political exile because Deathbird is kind of in charge and she's enacting a plan to keep her sister away from the throne and all of that. And so during this point, Deathbird teams up with the Brood to help defeat the X-Men, and the Shi'ar helping Lilandra. So
team up. I didn't think the Brood were anything you could work with. They're just animals that want to kill or breed.
They don't talk like it all, except through Dr. Cornelius in this episode. But they actually do like talk and have conversations and can do weird telepathy things and things. But so yeah, so they're hive mind, but they can be like very conniving and different things of that nature. Still, they still have levels of intelligence and also cruelty, which we see in the comics with them a lot. But okay, so that's where it starts out. The first time we see them is they're helping Deathbird and they're on Earth and they're attacking the X-Men and the Space Jammers and all that stuff is happening. And then it seems like they get defeated, or Deathbird gets defeated, so the Brood go off. Deathbird goes off, and then there's some a couple issues that have nothing to do with the Brood in between here. So all is well, it seems, for the X-Men. They've succeeded. And then we see Rogue appear for the first time as a villain in the X-Men issues in between.
I have that one. Yes. Actually, I'll bring those out next time. There's Rogue's first appearance, and then it's her first. It's her running towards you, and Colossus and the other X-Men are chasing her, and it says, "Welcome to the X-Men, Rogue. Hope you survive."
That's after the Brood saga.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, but there's another one where Rogue is punching Wolverine and he's like flying towards you.
Yeah, I have that one. Yeah,
that one.
I just looked at it. Yeah, okay.
So there's that up here. You see Rogue, and then she'll come back after the Brood Saga because she's not a part of the Brood Saga. And then, there's normal things like Dracula in between, and then they go to Limbo and fight Belasco. We'll worry about that stuff later.
Yeah.
But, and then, at the end of Uncanny 161, they're having a banquet with Landra, and then suddenly Deathbird appears, and then everything goes black. And then the next issue, the X-Men wake up, and they're on the Brood homeworld.
Oh my gosh.
So they're off in space. They're on a different planet. They're way off. And so thus kicks off what is lovingly known as the Brood Saga, which is one of my favorite stories in X-Men. And so this is where the X-Men have been taken to be host for the Brood because of their power sets.
Yeah.
So the Brood, we've mentioned earlier, but they're very much inspired by the Xenomorphs from the Alien franchise.
Yep.
So the Brood will implant an embryo inside of a host. So, and we'll just wait for it to hatch. Yeah. So they'll wait for it to hatch. So, but instead of like in Alien, if you're familiar with those, a baby xenomorph comes bursting out of your body, and then you're dead, and there's just a baby xenomorph. But for the Brood, so when the Brood egg hatches, if it hatches inside of you, it will actually absorb you and fully take over the host. So it gains all of the powers and abilities that the host had, but then you no longer exist. So you become a Brood with the abilities you had originally, and you're then part of a hive mind.
And that's it. And there's no coming back after that? Well,
if you're
Wolverine's
fully turned, he's not fully turned because we still see him as Wolverine-ish.
Yeah. He doesn't become the full Brood.
Yeah. So if you're partially turned, you can come back. If you're fully turned, you're kind of gone. But so yeah, the Brood Saga is a very existential cosmic space horror saga with the X-Men trying to get off of the homeworld and back to Earth, and while also never knowing that all of them have an embryo implanted in them, but they don't necessarily know, or they don't know when it's gonna start hatching.
Oh my god!
Because at this point, it took multiple days for it to actually gestate and hatch, not very quickly as in this episode, but I don't know how they're gonna defeat them and not turn, and it's some very good psychological stuff happening because Wolverine is I might have to kill all of my friends if they turn because he's the only one, because his healing factor helps it at this point. And there's lots of character drama and a bunch of them actually really sitting with and facing their mortality for the first time, which a lot of this point comic stories would be oh no, they're fine, just kidding, there's so much trauma, we're back. But there was a lot of them actually sitting with their mortality and being away from Earth and stuff, and it's really, really good. I have all the floppies of the original, all the ones that you just showed. I have the whole thing.
Do you? Okay, so you recognized everything I showed you.
Yes. So,
just a side point, this is what I brought this up earlier. Colossus is in all of them. This is when he was
part of the team.
He was the main member of the team before Rogue joined. So
yes, he was on the team at that point.
Yeah, he was very, very popular back then.
Yeah. So I won't spoil how the Brood are defeated in that original saga, and how the X-Men healed in that story, because it's wild sci-fi stuff. I'll just leave you to discover. But that saga is also the origin of my buddy Lockheed and how Kitty finds him, because they're in space.
Oh, that's part of why.
If anyone ever knew, is why does Kitty have a alien dragon as a friend? It's because of the Brood saga.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Brood have popped back up multiple times across the comics. Some of the ones you have is from the Outback era, so that's another famous one when they're on Earth. Trying to fight off some of the Brood.
When I was pulling these issues out, I found that one that I mentioned earlier when Wolverine and Rogue are hanging upside down with a couple of cowboys.
So the comic cover that we're going to talk about in just a little bit.
Yes.
So the one that you're talking about when they're hanging upside down is only 2 issues after that.
Yeah.
That one's 236. Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, exactly. I'll pull them. I'll pull them all out for those of you that can't. I'll pull them all out and take pictures and put them in the Facebook group for sure.
Yes. But if people like cosmic space horror, or we're these Brood are cool and want to go looking for more, I highly recommend the original Brood saga.
I mean, we're going to talk about it at the end, but this episode was very fast. Brood have been a much bigger story than what you got here, for sure. Yeah. Cool. See, that's awesome history. The Brood, yeah. Oh my god. I just remember it being insane. So, there you go. Wolverine mentions to Yuriko that it's their second alien invasion that they're living through together. What's that story that he's mentioning? Is that the one that you just went through?
No. So.
Okay.
Yeah, because none of what I just said, that's all comics. None of that happened in the animated series continuity.
Well, I didn't know if that was referring to comics or the original series. So
I don't think so. I think it's referring to something in the original animated series. So there is a two-parter episodes. I don't remember which season they're in the original, but it's called Out of the Past. And so Yuriko manipulates Logan into helping her get to a buried spaceship that is underground. That was crashed and is buried somewhere near the Morlock tunnels. In this spaceship, there's an alien called the Spirit Drinker, and it does what its name says. It absorbs the life energy out of people. It basically drinks their spirit.
Freaky.
But that alien apparently had some sort of weakness to adamantium, and so Wolverine was able to defeat it. And because it was the original animated series, they couldn't kill people, but a bunch of people got absorbed into it, and you could see their faces coming and speaking to Logan, but as soon as he defeated it, they got put back in their bodies and they were fine. So
oh wow.
But if you dealt with that in X-Men 97 now, people be dead.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Ooh.
So I think that's what they were referring to, because that was the first alien they came in contact with together.
Gotcha. All right. Adamantium seems to be a weakness for that we see in this episode too. It seems to be something. Okay.
Yeah, and so while all the Broods start coming up and they lock themselves behind one of the doors in this scene where you just had the line where he mentions the second alien invasion, but they have a moment where they all start to turn on each other and start accusing each other of potentially already being infected by the Brood because they were split up earlier, which is very The Thing, the movie, because they don't know who's the Thing, and they all start to get paranoid because the Thing looks exactly like the person.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there was just a little bit more of that throughout the episode, a little more paranoia and turning on each other, but before it shows that Wolverine was the one infected, but fun moment.
It was fun, yeah, because I mean, horror movies use that a lot. You don't know who could be, whether it's who's poisoned, who's infected, who's the killer in the group.
Yeah,
somebody
who's
died
possessed,
and we don't know who did it. So it's fun. It's fun horror movie stuff for sure. Now, when the Brood first attack and they're all like, "What's happening? We don't know what's going on. What is this?" There's a moment when Morph turns into a ball and starts bouncing around and squashing a bunch of them, and then he lands as the Thing with a big hammer drop. Was that the Puck? Did he turn into Puck for a second there?
He did turn. They did turn into Puck.
Okay. Yes. Okay. It looked, because for a second you could see Puck.
Yeah, there's a lot of Alpha Flight references. So yeah, Puck's a member of Alpha Flight.
Because he turned into the main leader of Alpha Flight later in episode 2.
Yes. Yes.
Vindicator, is that what he was called?
Vindicator. He's also got by Guardian. So I don't know if that was the Guardian or Vindicator, but yeah, Vindicator.
Yeah,
we'll call it Vindicator. So yeah, they end up splitting up because Maverick pulls up. I guess he's got some way to have all of the layout of the place, and Wolverine is like, "We gotta go deeper." Yeah. And Maverick's like, "What do you mean we gotta go deeper? That's suicide, basically."
Because they're looking at a visual of the map. Yeah, right.
And Wolverine is like, "Well, one, we gotta get the generator back on and the power up, and then the other half of us can go to the vehicle bay and get a vehicle so we can get out of here." So they're planning on splitting up. Wolverine is like, "I'll take Morph and go to get the vehicle. You guys go turn on the generator." And then Yuriko's like, "No X-Men together alone." So Wolverine takes Maverick, and then Morph goes with Sabretooth and Yuriko.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes. So something I thought was just a really fun kind of little surprise that I wasn't expecting is that Sabretooth is a tech guy.
That made me laugh too. Yeah, he put the power on and
power back, because he's like, keeping up with the tech means surviving. And I was like, this is so funny, because this is like the direct opposite of Wolverine, because Wolverine is terrible with technology.
Okay, because when he turns all the power on and they all look at him like, what? He says something. He's like, what? Shut up. Or he says something.
Yeah, he's basically something like, don't be surprised or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I know tech. Yeah. I thought it was so funny.
It was pretty funny.
And then, so I know it'll come back up later because I believe it's your favorite scene, but this is when Morph and Lady Deathstrike split up and they're together when Sabretooth is going to turn back on the power. But
yeah, when they go off on their own, yep.
Yeah, she starts telling Morph about the legend of Tomo and why she keeps calling them that throughout the episode, which is another running theme.
Yeah, so we can talk about that when I play the scene.
Yeah.
It did end up being my favorite scene because I thought it was kind of a neat. There's a few things about it that I liked. So yeah, we'll get to that. So now Sabretooth put on the power, and they're in a little I don't know, computer station, and they find video footage reports from the Doctor that when trying to quote unquote program all the Weapon X members, they couldn't stop them from eventually remembering things. They could not wipe their memories. Something always came back. But this is what I found interesting because I'm trying to piece together the timeline of these old videos. I mean, it is DVD, so it can't be that long ago. It wasn't VHS they were looking at. But it turns out that they caught one of the brood. There was a crashed spaceship that they dug up, and there was one brood on it. And they were able to do autopsies and experiments on the brood, and they ripped open its brain and took out its cranial fluid that they theorized would help wipe memories permanently and instill obedience so that they could give them the commands and they would obey them without question. So there's a lot going on there. And I was like, whoa. Slow down, Mr. Dr. Cornelius. Like, you're giving way too much information in your videos here. How long ago was that video from? That's my first question. And a brood ship looked like it crashed and they dug it up and pulled out a single brood body they could experiment with? Like one brood was piloting a ship? Or did maybe the ship crash and all the brood took off already? What's going on? Like, just slow down, buddy. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, well, they said they only found one body and it was frozen. It was completely frozen solid, is what it looked like. So I'm guessing the ship probably crashed there like that was there a long time if the brood was completely frozen over.
Right.
And so in the comics, the brood, how do I explain this? The ships, usually their spaceships, are actually other living creatures called Akante. They look like giant whales. So they actually lobotomize them and then take them over and build colonies inside them while they're still living.
Whoa. So,
yeah, the brood are very cruel.
Okay. But, so this goes back to, because when you told us the whole history of the brood, I had asked you, why are the brood here? But you went, well, the comics that is the X-Men in space on their home planet. But why did the brood come here then?
So this, because...
Or why would they have come here?
I mean, it didn't seem like they crashed an entire giant Akante because they're giant space whales. It looked like a much smaller ship.
Yeah.
So... I mean, potentially, if they did come to Earth, I mean, this could have been a reconnaissance ship. Maybe they were coming to see if they could find good host, because it was just one little brood in a smaller ship. So it could be just like a reconnaissance mission, and that brood crashed and then got frozen.
Yeah.
And never really got to do the thing because otherwise I don't know. I mean, there could be other brood running around, especially if we saw the creatures that were part brood running around outside. I mean, who's to say they didn't get infected or they couldn't infect other people, which, I mean, there's a theory that that's when Logan got infected, is when they crashed. So I don't know.
Yeah, because he wasn't around.
He wasn't with them.
Yep.
So I'm going to say that ship is probably a lot older since they had to dig it up and there was a very iced over alien.
Right.
But so to the DVD and when they're doing the experiments, the DVD that Morph puts in, it's the one that is labeled with the Roman numerals for 18. So with the Weapon X, or I might accidentally refer to it as Weapon Plus, because it's also bigger name, because Weapon X is part of the Weapon Plus. There's,
Oh, boy.
there's a whole lot. I don't want to get into it. It's very we'll be here forever. But
Some of our listeners won't mind.
I know, but
You know?
so I'm guessing that this specific, like the experimentation with the brood and trying to do all this, was weapon 18. And Wolverine, we call him Weapon X a lot, but he's actually Weapon 10. So that X is the Roman numeral for 10. So
he was number 10,
guess,
eh? Okay.
Yes, he was number 10. So Captain America was actually number 1, if you want to know.
Whoa.
That was the very beginning of kind of what Weapon X became, but then it became more clandestine and scary and stuff.
Yeah.
But so if Wolverine is 10 and this is 18, I'm guessing that this is a fairly recent experiment that they were doing, especially since the dead bodies weren't like decayed or anything. Like they still looked pretty freshly ripped open. So I can't imagine it was too long ago of the finding of the brood, dissecting it, or at least when they got their patient 0, which we'll get to in a couple of seconds.
Right. Okay. You had a couple of points above that. Yeah, I think we jumped over.
What did I? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, just some side.
Yeah.
So them digging up the ruins of the brood ship is also definitely a homage to The Thing.
Yeah.
Because that's how they find the alien there in a ship in the ice. And so Maverick, in a couple scenes from now, he'll have a line where he's going, "It's game over, game over." And so that's a reference to Bill Paxton's character in
Game
Aliens.
over, man! It's game over!
Exactly.
Yep.
Who shouts a similar line. So I heard that one right away, and I was like, they're just doing all the alien horror movies.
All the nods, yeah.
So, just fun references I want to throw in.
So fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what we see in the videotapes, I got another question for you. We see this blue guy in bed being experimented on. He's got tubes in him and all this kind of stuff. And I looked at him and I'm like, is that Yondu from the Guardians of the Galaxy? It sure looks like could be Yondu. Like, what the heck?
No, I don't believe so. I believe this is a mutant. That's name is Maggot.
Oh, never heard of him.
So Dr. Cornelius mentioned in the video that they were trying to use earth insects as part of the experiments to see if they could correlate, because this is, the brood are kind of like very insect-like. So they could use that as part of the experiments to see if they could use the fluid to control them, and starting with insect kind of DNA or earth insects to see if they could see the comparisons. But it seems that went very awry, because I'm guessing this is Maggot because they probably moved on to experimenting with a mutant who had insect-related powers as the next step. So Maggot, he is blue. He looks very different. He looks a little bit bug-like, but he also has 2 big maggots that live inside of him.
Oh, yum.
Yep. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship with those 2. He can control them and they can come out and do stuff and whatnot. So their names are Eenie and Meanie, the maggots. But it looked like, from the video, it looked like he was the patient 0 that kind of then turned fully into a brood, that he was able to then turn others into the brood, because before that they just had the dead one and they just had the cranial fluid.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this was like, oops, we actually turned him into a full brood, and then he probably got a bunch of the other, because there looked like there was a whole bunch of other test subjects who might have been all other mutants and stuff. So, and we see like a bajillion brood in this facility, and it seems like they Morph says later that they're only going after like the best of the best and not just like normal humans. So, might have turned a whole bunch of other of the like patients or like people that they had that they were experimenting on.
So, still zombie-like. It's kind of similar.
Still zombie-like, yeah.
Okay. Well, at this point, I've got the same question as Morph. What the hell is Omega Red doing here? Because they walk in on him, and he's there in a test tube with tubes, or a test cylinder, and there's tubes sticking out of his nose and whatever. And I'm like, what's going on there? Like, I know who Omega Red is. I recognized him immediately, but I don't know anything about him. And then there's something in there about him being like a zombie. He's undead. I didn't know. So tell us about Omega Red.
I got your little history lesson right here too.
Again, this is all history, this episode.
So Omega Red, his real name is Arkady Rosovich. He's from Russia.
Arkady? That's not a Russian name. That's interesting.
So he was a part of Russia's super soldier program. So basically, like
they were trying to mimic Captain America.
Yes, yeah. So his mutant power that he had before all of the super soldier stuff. So he had something that was called a death factor. So he has a specific type of pheromone that he can produce that induces death in people around him in his vicinity. Yeah.
People just smell him and they die?
He can control it, so it's not like, I mean, maybe not when he was younger, but like he can control it to an extent where he can like turn it on and off if he wants to kill someone around him.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, like it basically, if you're affected by that death factor, you basically like die instantly, or you can go through a painful, elongated death, and then he can kill you.
Jeez.
He actually discovered that power when he got killed, and part of his power, it actually resurrected him.
Oh.
So it was like a latent power when that got activated when he died.
It's always something stressful that brings it out, right?
Yeah, death will do that to a person.
Yeah.
So then, because when they killed him, but then they're like, he's got a mutant power. So they were like, we'll recruit him for the super soldier program.
Right.
And so with that, he was implanted with enhanced cybernetics. You see that kind of on him.
That's why he's shooting out tentacles everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he has 2 retractable tentacles, 1 on each arm. Those are made out of carbonadium.
What is that?
It's another made-up metal.
Yeah.
It was the KGB's attempt to recreate adamantium. Because they didn't have adamantium, but they were trying to create that. Okay. So his tentacles are made out of carbonadium. And combined with his death powers, with that, he can actually, those tentacles let him drain the life force out of people.
Is that what he wraps up? Is it Morph he wraps up somebody?
Morph and Lady Deathstrike.
Okay,
yeah,
I thought they were getting electrocuted.
No, so that's him like kind of draining some of the life out of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So with him, the carbonadium is actually something that slowly poisons him, much like Wolverine always has adamantium poisoning, but his healing factor is always going into overdrive to fix him.
Yeah.
And so because of that, he actually eventually started to develop a kind of like vampiric relationship with them, where he literally needed to drain life force out of people in order to keep his health.
Jeez.
So yes. Jeez. And this is part of the story that's just so weird. Not weird, they probably did this intentionally, but there was a carbonadium synthesizer that was built that he learned about that would actually help nullify that need to drain the life force out of people. But it was stolen by Team X when Wolverine and Sabretooth and Maverick and all of them were on Team X in their final mission. That was that comic panel that was recreated in the intro. Mm-hmm. That was the mission that they were stealing the synthesizer away from Omega Red. So Omega Red is in that issue. So I don't know if that felt like a reference to that specifically. But yeah, that's a little bit about Omega Red.
There you go. A holy cow.
Because I bet a lot of people don't actually know specifically his powers. They've seen him because he's in a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's visually familiar for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say that him being included in this episode, when I saw him in the tank, I was like, oh no, it felt a bit like overkill to me. Because I was like, they're already surrounded by Brood and stuff is happening. Like, why is Omega Red here?
Yeah, like enough. We're dealing with the Brood. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to that moment we hinted at, the iconic moment. Maverick shows up out of nowhere. Didn't even realize that he wasn't with them. When I look back, it's just Sabretooth, Morph, and Lady Deathstrike. I didn't even realize Maverick wasn't there. But he shows up, and his mask is all broken in half. You can see his face. He's all freaked out about Wolverine, and the Brood got to him, and I don't know what's going on. And then something keeps jumping around in the mist, and you get the whoa moment. You see that Wolverine has been taken over by the Brood, and that moment where he's there and he's screaming to the ceiling, he's got the big fangs and he looks half alien. That was, back in the day, one of the craziest and shocking comic book covers that it was ever been released. It sold like wildfire. It was so damn cool, and it is equally as cool that they brought that cover to life in animated form here for this episode. And I have that issue somewhere, or I sold it. I don't know, but oh my god, when that came out, people were just freaked right out. How could they do this to Wolverine? It was insane back then. I know you weren't alive when it happened, but
okay.
but
But
I'm telling you, it was almost up there with the whole idea of the death of Superman. It's just like Wolverine's an alien. What? Oh my god! And people, everybody went. It's probably one of the highest selling issues of X-Men. We should probably look into that. But I just remember the world going nuts over that.
Yes, and we were referring to Uncanny X-Men number 234.
Yeah.
So this is during the Outback era.
Yeah, I
included a picture in our notes so you can see that.
It's so cool. We'll have to add that to the Facebook page because man, that's so cool.
The smoke moved away and you saw like I kept calling him just Brood Logan the entire time.
Yeah.
And that it like stayed on that shot for a little bit longer and I was like, I know exactly what that is, and I'm sure a whole bunch of us home were going, we know exactly what that is.
It was just the fact that they animated it and brought it to life is just, oh man. Mm-hmm. It was freaky and cool all at the same time. Like that. Yeah, it had a lot of impact. I don't know, for people that have never seen this story before, I'm really curious if that impacted them as much as the comic did originally back in the day. Like, what the hell just happened? How is Wolverine an alien? I wonder. So damn cool, though, Abby. So damn cool.
It is.
Like, even the lighting. They even got the lighting and the colors. Everything's the same. It was beautiful. Beautiful. And a question here for you. Like, are we having death left and right here? Because Garrison's already dead. He's really dead. And
I do think so.
Did we just see alien Wolverine cut down Maverick?
I mean, it looks like it.
And then Maverick never comes back, and he's not on the escape ship after.
No. There's a shot at the very end when they're getting out of there and the place is getting blown up, where they show it's like 2 seconds of a clip, Maverick's body on the ground in that room. So I wonder if that was supposed to be like a, here you go, we saw the body, like he's dead moment. Or if that was like a, maybe he'll come back resurrected at some point.
I think they blew him up.
I don't know. I felt that feels like a dead, and they're just being like, feeling the repercussions of like what Wolverine's lies and kind of deception did here. Like he killed a bunch of his friends.
He did. He lost 2 of them for sure.
Yeah.
And I found it was funny. Just a few minutes earlier, and actually you already mentioned it. One of the characters said, "Once part of Team X, you're always part of Team X." Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, buddy, hey, we're together. And now that all hell is breaking loose, Sabretooth and Lady Striker said, "We're out of here. We're leaving everybody behind." And Morph's like, "Wait, you can't."
Yeah. They shoot the door so that they can't leave.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So they realized that Logan was never there to stop Weapon X. He was there to get his adamantium back. The Sabretooth brings it up. He's like, this was his mission all along. He lied to us. Who cares? Leave him behind. And that's the moment when he got caught by the Brood. Maybe it happened outside. We don't know. But this surprised me, and I'll ask you about it in a second. It turns out that adamantium doesn't mix well with the Brood's genetics, with their blood or whatever, and it can actually purge it out of your system if you're infected by the Brood. Lucky for that. Is this a plot twist? Is this a happen, just a convenience thing on the show? Because I don't remember that ever being part of the story. Was that the case in the comics as well? Adamantium poisons them and it makes it get out of your system?
So I don't remember that being in any of the Brood stories, that adamantium poisons them.
Okay.
Because in the comics, it's usually just his healing factor that actually does help him purge the Brood embryo before he could fully turn. Because in that cover and in the original, he does start to turn to some extent, but he never fully does. Right. Fully turns. I don't think they've ever had an aversion to adamantium. I can't remember that being a plot point. But I do think that was potentially just for this particular story, since that was a way to still get him to the end goal of what he wanted and kind of having all of that happen.
Well, I'm okay with it because it makes this show not fully predictable. They added a little twist that we've never seen before, so that's okay.
Yeah, and I think they made it to a point where it's like, yes, this is what Logan wanted all along, but now, like, the only way to save all of us is we have to give it to him because it's the only way to not have a healing factor brood Logan get out into the world.
Yeah, because one of them states though, like, if he gets out to the world, the whole world's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how do you stop an alien that can heal all the time? You can't. So yeah, that moment was pretty scary because you think about it. Oh my God, we can't let him out.
Right. Yeah.
So then a fight starts out with Sabretooth and Alien Wolverine, and Sabretooth goes to swipe at him and he misses, and he punctures a big gas pipe, and it explodes, like flame and everything pours out, and then all of a sudden, boom, it explodes, and it sends everybody flying back into the room. But man, Abby, did you see Sabretooth for a moment when he walks out of that? Half of his skin is burnt off, and all you see is muscle fibers, and he's still fighting. Like, that is nuts to me. I mean, you noticed that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That was insane.
I thought I could see, like, his ribs underneath the muscle.
Like, again, this is not children's stuff anymore. That's some freaky visuals. But then the very next scene, like seconds later, he's already grown his skin back. Is his healing factor that fast?
In the modern era, yes.
Because that was
like,
wow.
Pretty much at this point, like, comics and pretty much any media outside of the older comics, like, they've pretty much made the healing factor like super fast for story purposes.
Convenience.
Probably. Yeah, convenient. It looks cool to have stuff happen like very quickly.
Yeah.
But it used to take for both, like, mostly Wolverine and for Sabretooth probably too, it used to take a lot longer to heal from things. Like, they would heal, but it would be at a much slower rate.
Yeah.
Which I like from, like, a narrative perspective, especially from some of the older comics, because he was healing, but, like, it would take Wolverine, like, multiple issues to come back from an injury. So it would affect how he did things, or, like, he'd still have to survive something while healing and trying to make sure he healed. So it added more, like, stake and drama because, like, you know, he's healing, but it's not going to be like something instantaneous. He could still die from something, or, like, he'd have a broken leg that needed to heal, but he was in the middle of the woods and he still had to get somewhere, but he had a broken leg and had to wait it out somewhere, but he's getting, tracked down. So I liked it when it was slower, but at this point in the modern age, it's pretty much instantaneous.
Well, for Sabretooth, I mean, definitely was, but when Magneto ripped all of Logan's adamant, he was down and out for a few episodes.
Yeah.
So to see Sabretooth walk out of the fire and he's just nothing but muscle fiber and bone, you're just like, oh my God, dude. Holy crap, man. And you're okay? Like, what the heck? That was insane. So as the fight's continuing, Wolverine grabs a hold of Morph and stabs his claws right through his chest. And it looked like it hurt him. He was kind of hanging there off the claws for a while, but he's okay the next moment, and there isn't even any holes in his chest. Does Morph have healing abilities as well?
I would say that they have like some level of healing, so much like Mystique does as well as another shapeshifter. Since they have like such a malleable, like, so to say, like, physiology, because they have to be either constantly changing their form and their density and their shape and stuff. So there has to be some level of, like, healing to their structure, molecular structure, to be able to do that. So I think it's nothing like we see like a Wolverine or Sabretooth, but that's my guess, is they definitely have some form of it that just goes along with the physiological way they can shapeshift.
Okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense. If he can control all his molecules and all that kind of stuff, maybe when he gets stabbed through, he's just faking, oh, you got me, but really he's just manipulated.
That looked like it.
It looked like it hurt. Yeah, it looked like it hurt. So that shocked me. Like, oh my God, are they killing Morph in this episode too? Like, that would be a huge hit.
That'd be crazy.
I think that would affect Wolverine a lot more than he'd be willing to admit. All right. So Morph, right in that moment when he's got his claw stuck in him, Morph changes into Jean to distract Wolverine, and it actually works. As you actually see Alien Wolverine go, oh, Jean, and it got to him. And at that moment, Lady Deathstrike comes swinging in and does a double monkey kick, poof, hits Wolverine. he goes flying into the adamantium cylinder, the chamber. And I got a question here, because is this where the cartoon, because you've complained about it before, is this where it speeds things up too fast? Because in that chamber, a bunch of needles attached to cables come flying in, and they all jab into Wolverine, and they start pumping liquid adamantium into him. And you see the green brood ooze start to leak out. And then suddenly, next cut, Omega Red shows up, he attacks everybody, and then you see the claws cut open the chamber, and Wolverine's back, fully healed and fully encased in the metal again, back to normal. Now I remember the process being way longer and way more torturous than that. Like, they actually had him, I remember the scene, or maybe it's from the movie, I remember, but he was laying down on a table, and they were like cutting him apart, ripping him apart, because they actually had to encase his bones in the metal. They didn't just inject it, they actually had to cut his body open and put the metal on it and then seal him back up again and let him heal. It was way, way worse than that. Like, it only Wolverine, because back in the day, it was only him that they could do that intensive surgery on, because they knew he could heal. So this, to me, just seemed way too easy and way too quick.
Yeah, I had a bit of an issue here too. So
okay.
Yes, I'm not if you're listening, you're no stranger to the fact that I like a little bit of slower pacing, or at least
This
things to be
was
built up
fast.
more. So and also because the process is one of like the biggest trauma points in Logan's history.
Yeah.
And it's right here, it's essentially relegated to the background. And I get it on one hand, since he's not like the main focus right now necessarily. This is more kind of on Morph's story and things of that nature. So I get it kind of in terms of that, and also because he's brooded up, it may like do things differently. Yeah. But it's an incredibly painful process, and it seems like it was almost nothing for him here. Like, we didn't even hear any like cries of pain from him in the background while it's going on.
No.
And
Well,
that like
And I'm trying to think, like, if you're just injecting liquid adamantium, how does it know to go encase his bones? Like, wouldn't it just run through his veins? Like, it just didn't make sense. It was a little bit too much.
Yeah, because it has to be because adamantium, how dense it is, it has to be kept at liquid form. Otherwise, it's going to harden, and when they're doing it, so it has to be kept super, super hot. So, like,
God, that would hurt. Then.
Yeah, he's having like literally like molten metal being pumped into his body and going around of his bones.
So how does he not scream exactly? Unless the brood gives him no pain receptors.
I mean, this did kind of bother me. It was one of my sticking point I had, because it's such a big element to Logan's story and him as a character, and like this being such a big like trauma point for him.
Yeah.
That to have it feel like it was nothing, and then he comes out of it all smiles and like,
I'm back, baby.
Having like like it happened for like 3 seconds in the background was a little. I was like, that doesn't feel right to the character, even if he's not exactly the focal at this moment. That just doesn't feel like. So that was one of my sticking points here.
That's what knocked it off a little bit for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. I just like no. That was too quick, too easy. I know the surgery was far worse than that, and it's just, I mean, unless they improved the process over the last 10 years, I don't know.
Maybe,
but
I don't think anyone else but him got it.
Yeah, I just wasn't happy with that. So, and how fast he came out of it too. He just like, oh, there's a fight happening. Hey, I'm back. Yeah.
So I didn't need Omega Red here.
Yeah.
But before we move on, like, to the gene point. So, Morph was trying to get Logan to snap out of his animalistic brood self at the moment.
Yeah.
At least long enough to get him into the chamber, because that's what they're trying to do, get him back into the adamantium chamber. And right now, Morph still thinks that they can talk him out of it being his best friend. Even like they bring up their own trauma of having been through experiments with Mr. Sinister and how Logan helped them through all of that and snap them out of it, but it's not working. Like, that's when they get stabbed, and Morph is coming to the realization here that Logan lied to them too about the whole mission. And like, even though he was putting himself as like, okay, maybe Logan would lie to Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike and all these other people, but Logan wouldn't lie to me. And this is the realization of like, no, Logan is still going to manipulate me the full way that everyone else did about this mission. So that he took them on the selfish suicide mission, and that Logan doesn't feel the same way for Morph as Morph does for Logan. So Morph transforms into someone that they know Logan does care for, Jean, and I think it's to their sad realization that that does end up working, and that Morph wasn't enough to snap him out of it, which is sad.
And that comes back to the last moments of the episode. Yeah, it is pretty sad. So we'll get around back to that, because this is why this was a powerful episode for Morph, because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
This really highlighted how much Morph cares about Logan and how close they actually are as friends. It really put a spotlight on that, which was really good.
And I think from a different perspective, it was Morph hoping they could be more than friends at some point, but this was definitely the nail in the coffin of like, nope, this is that unrequited love aspect that I think a lot of queer folks go through when they maybe get a crush on someone straight, and then they'd be like, well, that's never happening for the first time. So that was definitely a big realization, and I think going to be a character turning point for Morph moving forward.
Well, you're right, because they were picking on him in the beginning of the episode. Sabretooth was picking on him about having a crush on Wolverine, and
I mean, I think Deathstrike bringing up the Tomo story, she was like, she like clocked him immediately of what was going on.
And then Sabretooth later, he hugs him from behind. He's like, don't worry, I'll take care of you, little guy, or whatever. So we'll come back to that again at the end here. But staying on Morph, though, Morphs. I mean, he turned into a ton of characters this episode. All these fun, quick cameos. That's what makes Morph fun, because even though these other Marvel characters are not even part of the show, they can bring them in because of Morph, which is just fun. And for me, of course, he turns into Spider-Man. That was my favorite point. I was like, yeah, because Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel character outside of Rogue. So, but it was just fun.
Yeah, so Spider-Man, we said Vindicator or Guardian, whichever one they're going by at the moment. Deadpool, they turn into Deadpool.
Yeah.
Silver Samurai. Yeah, and there's a moment where we see Sabretooth move out of the way with the sword, and the sword goes into the wall and just turns into, like, melts. Like, it does look like putty because it's just an extension of Morph's body.
Yeah.
So interesting to see that animated, like, that detail.
Putty boy,
And then, of course, Cyclops, but that's my favorite scene, so don't worry, guys. We didn't skip over it.
So, bringing up Omega Red again, is he nuts? Like, he wants to free all of the Brood so he can take over the world. He wants to work with them or lead them.
I guess this is just like if you can't beat him, join him moment. Because, like, because of his specific power set in being vampiric and sort of undead, like, they can infect him. So I guess he's just like, I'm with them now because it's either them or or Wolverine and his old teammates that I hate.
Yeah. Well, there was one of the characters said something about they revealed that the Brood don't want to breed below them. They want to breed above them. So they only look for people that can enhance what they are. Mm-hmm. And because he's undead, they're like, we're not biting into Omega Red.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So doesn't seem like any interest in Omega Red.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Omega Red, is this bye-bye, I guess? Because right as the episode's coming to an end, all the battle's happening, and they're running from the building that's about to explode, Wolverine lets this massive column of concrete and steel land on him, essentially flattening him, and then the building blows up.
Yeah. I mean, it looks final, but knowing Omega Red, I don't think that's the last of him, since he is more or less undead. But that's probably the last of him for now. Like, I doubt we'll see him at all the rest of the season.
Come on, he's flattened and he's blown up. There can't be anything left of him.
I know. I just knowing comic books and things, but also there's a lot of death this episode.
There's a lot of death this episode, so I'm not putting it past them.
We're gonna say that every episode. There's so much death.
Oh my gosh, we're dealing with too much. I'm gonna have to go see a psychiatrist after this season.
Oh no, all of our mutants are like dying.
Oh my god. go in there and paying $300 an hour. So what's wrong with you? They killed the X-Men. Like, oh, this will be an easy $300. Thank you. So the fire that breaks out gets to all the gas tanks, and the whole place blows up in a massive ball of liquid flame and fire and brimstone. It's everywhere. And the last four that survive, Morph, Wolverine, Lady Deathstrike, and Sabretooth, barely make it out on the jet that they ran into. They got to an escape ship, basically. Is this the end of the Brood, do you think? I mean, it's again, like you've been complaining, it was so quick to just bring them in, deal with them, and move on. Is that what we got in the story? They vaporized them all. That's it for the Brood. It was just a, hey, here's a surprise. Done. Just like Goblin Queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
the way, like you just brought up Goblin Queen, that's a good example, but the way they fly through some of the stuff, it could be a one and done, that's it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they do, I mean, they gotta know people love the Brood. So, but I do think for this season at least, no more Brood. With a story with, we got Apocalypse going on, we've got so many teams, I can't...
Why did they even fit them in anyway?
For fun horror romp. I would love to see them honestly come back in the show and maybe do like a proper Brood saga or a version of it. Maybe them in space at some point. Who knows?
Yeah,
they don't have time to go to space. But but like I do think that's it for this season at the very least. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it is because I'm thinking they did the Goblin Queen treatment.
Yeah.
One and done. Out of here.
It definitely could be.
So let's go back to Morph. This is where I wanted to come back around to him. I found him to be very expressive this episode. Like, usually he's kind of blank. His face doesn't show much. He's cracking jokes and everything, but his face doesn't change much. But they animated it a lot more, showing a lot more expression of whatever it is they're feeling. Especially in the end scene with him and Wolverine, which we're going to talk about. I just felt like they really gave a lot to Morph this episode and just really showed how much he's feeling, whether it's cracking a joke or caring about Wolverine or surviving with the team. He expressed a lot more.
This was their episode.
They expressed a lot more.
Yeah, they, them, sorry. I know it's a little confusing, but yeah, they, them, I try.
They look like a man, they used to be a man, and it's a man actor, voice actors. I just get all messed up.
Well, he's the voice actor is also non-binary.
Oh,
so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just knew the name.
Yeah. I mean, I do think so because this is their episode, but also I think it's part of because for the most part we've mostly seen them as the one that's doing all the quips and doing kind of the comedic relief.
Yeah.
But I think it does highlight because their reaction to the trauma that they've gone through with like the Mr. Sinister stuff and getting brainwashed and things that's happened compared to like say Wolverines and all of the rest of the Team X here, they've all gone through similar. And Morph's reaction is, I'm not going to let that, for pardon the pun, but going to turn me into a brooding person who's just going to be dark all the time, like someone like Wolverine tends to be, or something. Like they're going to still like that's their reaction to the trauma is they're still going to see the more joy and happier side of life. Like we were just joking about therapy, but they seem to be the only one who's maybe gone to therapy.
Yeah.
So I think with the expressive aspect, like they're breaking out of just being that kind of happy-go-lucky, more comedic side, and we're seeing them go through that process of realizing a betrayal by a close friend, and like maybe not everything is as it seems, and some of that optimism might be misplaced. So we're seeing definitely a more broader range and kind of full character arc for them in this episode. So they put I'd say more work into the animation there to make it really shine through. Yeah,
they really it I think for the first time for me, because I don't know a lot about Morph. I was never really a big fan. Because I didn't know anything about the character. This episode really kind of connected me to them a little bit more. I started to actually feel for them and go, oh man, like poor Morph. Like this is the first one. This is what broke it open for me to care about the character. So
yeah, I think that did for probably a lot of people watching. But yeah, it was a good episode. Good episode for them, and I think something needed to give them a little more well-rounded aspects and dive into them rather than just because so far it has mostly felt like kind of comedic relief and a quippy person. So which is fun, but it's good to get deeper into.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the final moment on the plane as they're escaping. I know you got some notes here because it's a pretty powerful scene to end the episode on. We just went through a horror show, and now they're on the airplane, and Wolverine's like, "What? Come on, spit it out, kid. You know you want to." And Morph's like, "Well, if you have to ask me, then I don't need to say it." And and he's basically like, "I'm sad. I'm sad." So what's going on?
Well, I'm glad they ended on kind of a downer. That it wasn't it didn't feel like a wrap up, because I feel like if it had ended a little happier note for the rest of the episode, it wouldn't have felt as genuine.
Right.
Necessarily. So I mean I said that the final scene kind of feels like the thesis statement of the episode to an extent. Because Wolverine's saying that he's, some of us can only be one thing when he's talking to Morph, who can be anyone who wants. They want.
Yes. That's poignant.
And he's like, the one thing I'm the best at being is an animal with claws, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Morse asks if that makes Logan sad, because it makes Morph sad. And that's where the episode ends, is literally on that, and then they go and sit up with Yuriko and leave Logan alone in the back to look at his claws, and he has that reflection where
he's looking at himself.
He's looking at Morph, but he's looking at himself, and that's where the episode ends, on kind of that. I think it, I said it ends on a downer and kind of an open-ended question for Wolverine. But because that actually, it does make you as an audience member, I think, sit with what went down as much as Wolverine has to now think about what went down and sit with that. So I think it's a good place to end on an episode like this that was, horror and fun, but also like when you think about like what led it there and what, the lies that Wolverine told, and him, there's a tragedy in him thinking that he can only be one thing and only be kind of that animal. So I'm glad that it ended there and we didn't try to like wrap up anything necessarily.
Yeah, because it leaves that sad feeling kind of lingering, and it leaves it open for that to continue. They have to deal with this, the two of them, or they don't, and their relationship just took a big turn and things will be different.
Right.
Yeah, it was sad. It really, like I said, it made me feel for Morph, and like, oh man, poor Morph.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, I have a side note here.
Okay.
You mentioned when Wolverine sticks out his claws, like during that whole emotional moment, Wolverine unsheaths his claws, and did it look to you visually like they came out really far? Because they were way longer than they normally were. Way longer.
There was like one profile shot when you can see him from the side.
Yeah.
And I was like, that wouldn't even fit in your arm. So
exactly. They were.
I did. I think. I mean, when they do the reflection, like they're gonna animate that bigger so they can get his full, face on there. But
yeah,
they did look a little long.
But that profile shot, they were really long. I'm like, why didn't anybody pick up on that? Because they were longer than his arm. That was just a little bit. Yeah, it just stood out. All right. Oh, you got some final thoughts. Sorry, what's going on here?
I had some wrap up thoughts on overarching things in the episode. As a little bit of why I really, really liked the episode, especially when viewed as a Morph episode and what went down with him. But I do think there's a few things that I feel like were missing or could have been pulled on more. So like a thread running throughout most of this is Logan keeping his intentions and his real plan a secret from everyone else.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be calling him Wolverine instead of Logan in this moment because he's acting like the animal.
Sure.
But because they all think they're here to take down Weapon X and Dr. Cornelius, but Logan, just wants his adamantium back. Morph is learning through all of this. We talked about this a bit more, like starting out still very optimistic that Wolverine is doing the right thing, but then getting to the point where they realize that he's been used and lied to just the same as Wolverine's enemies that he has on this mission.
Yeah, he didn't treat him any differently, and that hurts. Yeah.
So Logan's still viewing himself as nothing more than an animal in the way he acted throughout all this. And with that, like, we've talked about we've been able to pull out a lot of it, extrapolate things. But I do wish that we would have spent more time with Logan before getting his adamantium back. Right. So because it's the very end of season 1, it gets pulled out, he's unconscious into the rest of the finale. And then when we see him back at 6 months later in a dystopia. So I just wish we had seen some more of the fallout from the adamantium getting ripped out and how like Logan feels about it, because we don't actually know how Logan feels about all of this.
You're right. They didn't touch on that at all.
No. So like, we can kind of try to insinuate what his motivation is to getting it back, but like we don't actually know how he feels. So like, is it that he feels like nothing without the adamantium? Is it that it's actually affecting his health and his healing factor and he needs it back for that reason because he's had it for so long? Like, does he feel like he needs it against Apocalypse? Like, we don't like actually know his actual motivation other than he just wants it back.
Well, yeah, like, does he feel a little bit defenseless without it because his claws keep breaking every time he uses them? Like,
yeah. So like, I wanted a bit more before we actually got to the getting it back story. Because there's nothing in between. Because they literally just come back from the future, but we don't actually get to see Logan trying to, live with just the bone claws. We don't see how it's affecting him. So so that even like, getting back to this episode, we do see Wolverine as kind of more of the antagonist of this episode by the end of it, because he's the one doing all the deception and things. He's getting into this mess by being selfish, and he's literally getting people killed because of this. So
well, he's always been a selfish character. He's always like
to an extent. I think I'm a person. There's a lot of people that who don't really like Wolverine because they see him as just like a brooding soldier mission guy, and I'm actually a person that does like Logan, but I don't think him getting so popular in pop culture and being like the focus of the movies, and then that spanning a bajillion Wolverine-centric comics and things, I think that's done a big disservice to the character of Logan.
To who Logan is.
And what he was. Yeah, because I do think there's a lot of depth and nuance and struggle to his character, and there's a lot of empathy in his character as well.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we see him like with, Jubilee in this series, but he keeps adopting teenage girls and like mentoring them, but a lot of that stuff, like he's got a very caring sense for kids and things of that nature, and animals, like he's got a big empathy for animals and things of that nature, and I think that can get missed sometimes or not be a factor. But I think when you have sometimes too much empathy, that can also go you end up hurting people when you don't mean to. So I just wanted more like depth out of him to get to this point here before he actually got the adamantium. Like, he could still be a jerk very much at the end of the day, but have more like depth to the getting where, or like seeing Logan struggle actually. Like, obviously he turns into a brood, so that's kind of a struggle, but like some interiority struggle to him. And especially like, if it is, say, he wanted the adamantium back because he needs it for his health and his healing factor, and he goes to such a selfish lengths to get it back by lying to everyone, including Morph, like, who Logan was very protective and very buddy with all of season 1. Like, we see him crying out for Morph when Morph gets hurt, and all of that. So I just wanted more actual in context things of getting from point A to point B before we got to a point where it's literally just an ice cold Logan throughout the entire episode. So it was just a bit too much of a jump for my specific liking for that, and I think there could have been some more points brought through with building Logan's nuance while still having him come out as an antagonist at the end of this.
I agree with you. That goes right along with the stuff is moving too fast.
The movie. I think the pace is too fast for some of its own good. For things like that, because they can't add in the building up to, I want to see the motivation for this. I mean, I know I can insinuate things, which, storytelling, you don't have to show every single thing. You can trust your audience, but I think this was like too much we have to read into and put into context.
Yeah.
But like we'll talk about the Tomo story, but I really liked Deathstrike immediately clocking what's going on, and Morph and Deathstrike's relationship throughout all of this. I just wish there had been more lead in and some connective story threads, instead of just feeling like we're jumping directly into everything.
Yeah, you can talk about it here if you want. You've got a good point there.
I know, but we're about to probably go into
well, we can, if you want to save your thoughts for when we actually play it.
Yeah. So we'll hear it again and then we can talk about it.
All right, well, we'll jump into our second ad break here real quick, and then we'll come back for actual favorite scenes. Or no, we'll get Lockheed's Lair, and then, oh my God, it's a full page.
Yeah, I know.
And then we'll get to favorite scenes. So let's pause for ad break real quick.
Don't you agree?
All right. Wow. I'm just going to sit back and relax for this one. Okay.
I hope people like our long episodes, even when they're just
about
one TV episode. All right. So before I know you're all waiting for all of the DVDs, but just one quick point before we get to the DVDs. So there's a moment when Morph mentions Graydon Creed to Sabretooth.
Oh, yeah. Graydon. Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm. So the Graydon he mentioned, that is Sabretooth's child.
Yeah.
So if you forgot who Graydon Creed was, he was the leader of the Friends of Humanity in the original animated series.
Okay.
And in the comics, same thing. But he didn't know his lineage, or he was hiding it. I can't remember which. But his parents are Sabretooth and Mystique. So
what?
Yep.
Those two got it on?
Yep.
Wow.
So he's got two mutant parents. And he's the leader of the Friends of Humanity because he still hates mutants.
But is he not a mutant himself?
He's not. Nope.
He didn't develop anything?
Nope. Sometimes that can happen.
Oh my gosh.
You don't get passed on an active X gene or anything like that.
Whoa. That's got to be rare.
Yeah, and once there's an episode where his lineage gets revealed to the rest of the Friends of Humanity, and they end up kicking him out because they learn that his parents are mutants.
Yeah.
So he's not like a pure blood, I say in quotes, human anymore. That's the way they see it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to mention that in case anyone heard that line and was like, who's Graydon Creed?
All right, well, now the DVD. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this is a scene that Abby's going to pause on and tell us everything that's going on there, because, oh my God, there's a lot of them.
All right, here we go. DVDs. And it was a moment where it's like, I'm pausing, and then it like moves over, and there's more DVDs.
You had to
and
pause
it's
again.
Like kept going. And it's like, okay.
Homework.
All right. Yep. So we had X-23 on one of the DVDs. So that's Laura Kinney, who is a clone of Logan. They cloned her from Logan's DNA. She's also a Wolverine. She goes by Wolverine now, so she doesn't go by X-23 anymore. Because X-23, so that would be like how Logan is 10, so she's 23 in the experiments.
Wow.
And then next to her, there was Ajax. So Ajax, we saw him in Deadpool. If you watched Deadpool the movie, he was the villain in that one. He cannot feel pain at all, so he can get hurt but feel no pain.
Right.
So he was experimented on by the Weapon X program, but he was actually experimented on so he could become part of the staff and in Weapon X instead of being like a controlled weapon like a whole bunch of other people are.
Okay.
Then there was Aurora. So she is another member of Alpha Flight. So she's the sister to North Star. People know North Star and Aurora. They're twins.
Okay.
So she's got flight and super speed. She's a mutant. Maybe we'll see actual Alpha Flight in the future at some point again. There's so many references to them.
Yeah.
And then next to that was Phantom X. So Phantom X was Weapon 13 in the Weapon X or Weapon Plus program. So he's got a very, very complicated history. I'm not going to even really try because he's sort of human, but not really. He was like artificially born and raised, but he was engineered, and he's kind of like essentially a living nervous system and cerebral cortex. Like he's kind of computerish, but organic.
Jeez. Okay.
It's very confusing. I haven't read enough of comics with him to like fully get the picture, but so yeah, I don't really know how to fully describe him and his background. He was created in this place that's called the World, which is like a big lab that's outside of time. That's part of the Weapon Plus program that they use. It's all very sci-fi.
Okay.
Okay, then we had Silver Fox. So
I
this
saw
is
that
a reference
one. Yep.
to Kayla Silver Fox. So she's an old member of Team X as well. So she was in the original Weapon X Lies and Videotape episode. Her and Logan dated, as people do. Logan dates a lot of people. So she also went through like the brainwashing, false memories process, like the rest of that team. She's got a healing factor. It's not as advanced as Wolverine's or Sabretooth's, and she was given by Weapon X like longevity, so she ages slowly, artificially like that. Cool. Then we have Weapon 18, which is the DVD that Morph they watch that they put in. So that has to do with, I'm guessing, the Brood program, which they probably deemed Weapon 18. Right. Or Weapon 18 might have been in reference to Maggot, who was part of that program, but then he got turned into a Brood.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have Cyborg. So he's a cybernetic mutant that can implant false memories, and so he was part of that when they did the like implanting false memories and the memory wipes for all of the people. He helped do that in the Weapon X program. Okay. Then we have Mastodon.
That one I saw. Yep.
A very, very, very small comic history. He was a member of Team X at some point in the comics. Don't know that much about him except that he's got a superhuman resistance to injuries, and he's got some strength, and was given also elongated like longevity. So he has slowed aging by Weapon X. Huh. Yep. And then we got the Winter Soldier.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that one's pretty self-explanatory, but that's in reference to Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, we all know his story.
Yeah. Next to that, so in Roman numerals, it was Weapon 6. Mm-hmm. So that is in reference to Project Power, or that's the experiment that gave Luke Cage his powers.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so he went by Power Man. That is in reference to Project Power.
A lot of history here. Holy.
Yeah. And then there was one that said Ant. And, like, I am not sure about this one. It could be in reference to the Ant Hill, which is a secret base that Bolivar Trask had, where he kept a bunch of Sentinels. But there's, like, I don't know of or couldn't find a character or a reference to this that had anything to do with Weapon X. So I'm not positive what Ant is, but that was there. And then obviously we have Wolverine, Silver Fox, we have Garrison Kane, and we've got Sabretooth. We got all the people that we saw. Yeah. Minus Deathstrike, because she shouldn't have a file, because she wasn't actually part of Weapon X. And then we had Agent Zero. So Agent Zero has kind of two identities. So that's been a name that Maverick's gone by in the comics. Or it could be in reference to David North, who was in the Wolverine Origins movie, who is, I think, supposed to be Maverick, but they just named him slightly different, and his name is David North instead of Christoph North, and he went by Agent Zero.
Okay.
Then we have Chimera. So she is part of the facility. That's with a capital F, because that's a different Weapon X program. That is the program that created X-23, Laura Kinney. And so Chimera was actually Laura's abusive handler at the facility, and she has unbreakable skin, I'm pretty sure is what her power was. Okay. Worm is the next one. So Worm is a cyborg that was with Deadpool in the same place where Deadpool was getting his powers and getting experimented on. Yeah. So he's just one of the people that Deadpool became friends with in that facility. Okay. Then we have Sluggo. So Sluggo is a Deadpool villain, usually. He was actually in the prison in Deadpool 2 in the movie. He's one of the prisoners that they get in a fight with. And then we have Kestrel. We're almost there, everyone.
There's a lot, yeah.
Kestrel. So Kestrel is another name for John Wraith. John Wraith is a mutant who is a teleporter. So we've been talking about the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie because there's so much Weapon X in that movie. Mm-hmm. He was the teleporter that was played by Will.i.am in that movie. Oh. Remember that. Wow. Yeah. And so here's the last one. That is partially cut off, so I might not be correct on this one, but I could see an MARR, so I do think this is in reference to Marrow, because she has Weapon X ties in the comics.
Okay. Holy.
And that is all the DVDs.
That's a lot. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, if you think of all the characters you just mentioned, a lot of them we would know. Just to think that they're all connected to something similar that Wolverine went through. Like, there's a history there that connects a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Because, we all watched Captain America, the Winter Soldier. There was no reference to Wolverine or Weapon X or anything in that.
No, and I wasn't expecting them to.
But it's just crazy that it is connected.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Well, let's get to our favorite scenes now.
Like, what is it with guys and explosions anyway?
You go first. I think we're back to back. First. Oh, mine is first? Okay, one of it's back to back. These pretty much join right up to each other in the episode. So mine is the story about Tomo.
You never answered Creed's question on the helicopter. What is your stake in our nightmare, Tomo?
What's up with this Tomo stuff?
Tomo is a magical shape-shifting fox from Japanese legend. A loyal sidekick to a heroic samurai. There was nothing Tomo wouldn't do, no one he wouldn't become, to help the samurai on his adventures. Unfortunately, it did not work out well for Tomo.
Yeah, I mean, she just explains how they're seeing him in the way the way they are crushing over Wolverine, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, after I clocked that immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tomo. So I mean, I did look. I was trying to see if this was a real legend or if they just kind of consolidated a bunch of Japanese folklore into this. And they do reference like Tomo as a shape-shifting fox spirit. So the fox spirits in Japanese folklore are called kitsunes. If people like Pokemon and know the Pokemon Ninetales, they're based after a kitsune.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like a fox with a whole bunch of tails.
Yeah. I can picture the image of it, but I didn't know anything about it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, kitsunes. So that's probably what that's in reference to. And I think there is one that it was I think it was a lady that became a fox spirit and then got attacked by people. So It didn't end well for Tomo in that sense. But I couldn't find I don't know if there's a specific lore that was referenced in Tomo, but
yeah, I liked it just because it brings out what we've been thinking and talking about with poor Morph there, and this is how people are seeing them.
Yes, they can't see it themselves, but other people can immediately see it.
See it, yeah. It's just it just added to the sadness. Morph sad, we're sad watching what they're going through.
But then mine is on the more comedic side. So we switch from serious to kind of the more comedic. I forgot to name it, but this is the scene where Morph turns into Cyclops to lure Brood Logan out into the open, because I thought it was hilarious.
Morphlops. Cymorph? I don't know. Cyclomorph? Here he is.
Cyclomorph.
Fine! Maybe you're right! He lied to us! Either way, this doesn't end with Weapon X. If unkillable Brood with Wolverine's healing factor get out into the world, taking over Earth is week 1.
Got a plan to go along with that speech?
Those DVDs we saw, they said the Brood can't survive the adamantium process. But we know that Wolverine can.
So you're saying we give Logan what he wants?
Logan's healing factor should protect him while the adamantium purges him of the Brood's DNA.
How the hell are we gonna lure him into the chamber?
I've got an idea.
Logan! Oh, Logan! Come on, soldier. Duty calls. Hey, if you don't obey, I'm gonna tell Jean. Ooh, how do you like that? Gosh, she'll be angry. She's gonna be so upset with you that I'm just gonna have to give her extra smooches tonight, Logan. Jean. Wolverine, I knew you'd come to your senses and listen to your superior.
Come on, big guy.
No, wait!
Time I put you down once and for all.
Yeah, it's like, there's a lot of serious stuff. Like, I almost considered the very last scene because of the impact, but like, it's like we haven't gone comedic at all yet this season because there's
not much to
comedic.
laugh at.
So
No.
that when I saw Morph as Cyclops, I was like, oh, this is good. This is so funny. So I had to put that in there for a little bit of relief.
Jean's not gonna like it.
I know. Gonna give her extra smooches. It's like funny.
It was pretty funny, yeah. But then Sabretooth runs him through at the end
Oh,
there.
I know. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Crazy. There we go. Well, that is our favorite scenes. We'd like to remind you how you can support the show, and we love those that are doing that. Is that we do.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
It's time for feedback, punks.
Anyway, we got an email from JJJ. Why don't you take it away?
All right. Hey, X-Maniacs. J. Jonah here. Let's talk about Weapon X, lies, and DVDs. I enjoyed this episode, but I think X-Men 97's breakneck pace undermined it a bit. Well, we are on the same page. We had the same Lost Powers arc with Storm, but at least we got to see how it affected her. We don't get that with Logan. We don't see him struggle, so we never grasp why he was willing to fracture his relationship with Morph to get his adamantium back. Yeah, we just covered that too.
Yeah.
So I think
He's
we're
on
with
our
you on that.
wavelength, yep.
Also, why did Sabretooth throw the switch to give Logan back his adamantium? He hates Logan. Giving him adamantium saved his life. Maybe you can argue that Sabretooth didn't want to risk a brood-infected Wolverine getting out into the world, but without adamantium, Sabretooth could have killed him by decapitation. I feel like that's the outcome Sabretooth prefers. Oh well.
Do you agree with that?
I do think he answered his own question, because that's what Morph was arguing, is like, you don't want a healing factor brood Wolverine getting out into the world.
Yeah.
But I don't...
But Sabretooth could have killed him instead.
I mean, potentially? I don't know, without the adamantium, but like, if we're going by what we're seeing as their healing factor as being super, super fast, in the comics, Wolverine has survived... I don't know about decapitation, but he's survived lots of things.
Yeah.
He's come back from like a single blood drop at one point, which is too much, but you know, that's happened. So I don't know, but I do think even at that point, Sabretooth is like, yeah, I don't want the brood out in the world because I still live in the world. So I guess we better save the runt.
Right. The runt. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Finally, I absolutely love the nods to the helicopter scene from Predator and the game over scene from Aliens. Yeah, it also felt a whole lot like Starship Troopers.
Oh,
yeah, when you're fighting a bunch of bug aliens.
I guess, yeah. I didn't even think of that one. Huh.
And people dying left and right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So while I hated Logan being a jerkhole this episode, I loved everything else. Even Garrison Kane going out like a true Star Trek red shirt.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a red shirt, so yes. Okay, I gave this episode 7 betrayals out of 10. It was okay, not great. This has been J. Jonah Jameson, telling it like it is.
Hey, you're with us, man. You were reading our thoughts like you had Jean Grey powers, man. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you for that. If you guys would like to join the show, I think X-Force, I think he messaged me saying he didn't get a chance to watch the show, so he missed it, but we want more people talking about X-Men. I know there's a lot of you out there listening, so send in your feedback. Get on the show. We want to hear what you're thinking of all of this amazing story that they're telling us, so join us as I do it.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to tomorrowslegendspodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter @tomorrowslegends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
Yeah, and that wraps us up. Abby, Shadowcat. One half-an-hour episode almost got us to 3 hours.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Mind you, I threw in the comic book, so that took you by surprise.
Comic, yeah.
But,
we just always talk more than I anticipate.
I have to stop asking you questions to dig into the history of stuff for us. But I think that's what people like. They want to know all the stuff.
Hopefully they're okay with 3-hour episodes on
a
30-minute episode.
Yes, I mean, it gives you lots to think about. You've got questions. I don't think anybody knows the comics as well as you do, so they're probably learning a lot.
I've met many X-Men folks that know quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we all, like I said, I think before, we all fill in the gaps and we all come together and we all have super X-Men knowledge.
Super X-Men knowledge.
Yes.
Well, that's good. So next week, what do you know what the title of the episode is next week?
It is Danger.exe.
Okay. Danger. So something to do with the Danger Room and an executable program. I like it. We'll have to see what that was all about. Is there a synopsis for it they released yet?
There was, and I don't remember it. It's just like a sentence.
Just one sentence, okay.
But I know that Polaris is going to be a focus in this one.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Good stuff.
Yes.
Awesome. A little bit of Polaris love. We haven't seen her for a bit, so that'll be good. Good stuff. All right, so check out all the other shows on the network, everybody. There's a lot going on. Catch up with all of us. But like I said, we want to hear your feedback. We want people talking X-Men. Because, man, if you're not watching this show, why are you listening to us? Go watch the show. Tell your friends to watch the show. It's good. It's really, really good. And go to the movie theater, too. There's a lot of movies playing out there right now. I'm going to see The Odyssey on Tuesday, so I'm excited about that. We'll have to see. So there you go. Lots going on. We will talk to you in a week. This is The Havoc. The Havoc. I did that last week.
The Havoc.
The Havoc. Because I always say this is The Flash, but this is Havoc. Signing off.
And I'm Shadowcat. Unlike some people, I survived the experience, but I hope you did too.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.